Okay, so in a few minutes' time, guys, we're going to be underway with the first heat here in the K1 men's quarterfinals. These guys have 3 rides. Best 2 rides count. 20 paddlers in total. And they'll be knocked down to 10 paddlers for the semi-finals. So let's take a look at this first heat we have here. So from Finland, we have Visa Ricola. From Spain, Adria Villa. From France, Fabian and Bennett. From the US of A, Bennett Smith. From Great Britain, Harry Price. See the temperature here, 34 degrees. We've got a slight breeze in the air, which is quite nice. The competitors, I'm sure, of making sure they hydrate properly and doing all the things they need to do to prepare for this this event. So you can just see up on the screen there, that's the first heat. So Visa from Finland will be up first. 45 seconds to show the judges what he's got. 3 rides, both the higher scoring rides will count. So these guys have a throwaway ride, but ideally they need to throw down in all 3 rides and hope that their 2 highest scoring rides is enough to go through to the semi-finals.
So yeah, today we are cutting from 20 athletes to our top 10 athletes, and then they will compete tomorrow in the semifinals, where we will then cut them to 5. So a pretty intense cut. We'll see a lot of massive scores, and it'll be interesting to see who can bring it and who maybe will be a bit more affected by the pressure.
Most definitely. Sage, if you look at actually the heats, you know, there's some great paddlers, and they're spread out across the field here, you know. Let's have a look in Heat 2 here. We have Hunter Kadic from the USA. We've got Pringle, an ex-world champion. He's in Heat 2.
Alan Ward, also a very seasoned athlete.
Yeah, you know, he's been on the team for years now, Alan. So it would be interesting. Every heat is pretty stacked here, to be honest. I think it'll be a battle till the end. It'll really be who can put their rides together on the day, and yeah, I mean, there'll definitely be. I think we'll see some surprises potentially in the semifinal, but I mean, we'll have to see. Yeah, most definitely. It's all to play for here. We're looking forward to starting with this first heat. So just go through that heat list again. We have bib number 64, Visa Ricola from Finland, bib number 181, Adria Villa from Spain, bib number 76, Fabian and Bennett from France, bib number 212, Bennett Smith from the USA, and bib number 13, Harry Price from Great Britain. Harry Price is the first time competing in the seniors. So he's been competing in the junior category for a good number of years, so he's no stranger to competition. He'll be looking to secure a spot most definitely in the semi-finals. But that's the same to be said for all of these paddlers. So a few minutes to go as we see Visa warming up in the eddy. We're just waiting for Paul Shepherd, head judge from Great Britain. All the judges have been doing a great job here. It is super warm, and it takes its toll for sure. We're all tucked away here in the tents. We've got a bit of a breeze this afternoon for these quarterfinals for the men's, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have that breeze and be in the shade today. It is scorching outside. I was feeling quite hot before my rides. About 20 minutes ago, I had to roll quite a few times, but at least the water's nice and cool.
Yeah, that's it. It's hard work dealing with the heat out here at the moment, but okay, so we can see the thumbs up from Paul Shepherd for Visa Ricola from Finland. All right, so Visa actually choosing to drop in from the bottom, not normal for the men's rounds, but goes straight into a McNasty, not wasting any time getting points on the board. Potentially going for a blunt McNasty, using that green surfer's left shoulder to potentially get a blunt, and we'll have to see if the judges think it was clear of the foam pile. And then brings it in straight to a loop, still has plenty of time on the board, right into a massive Space Godzilla, just throwing trick after trick, getting a flat spin in there, racking up every single possible point he can. Maybe trying for the lunar orbit. We'll have to see if that was high enough. And just setting up, only a few more seconds left, trying for potentially one more trick. What will it be? Looks like he'll go for a split wheel, maybe linked to a cartwheel right on the buzzer. So a solid first ride from Visa.
Yeah, that was a nice first ride from Visa there, from Finland. If he's going to set the mark, I think we're in for quite a good quarterfinals here. All these guys definitely want to place in the semis, so it's all to play for. 3 rides. There's 2 rides count. So what we'll generally see is everyone going for gold on these first rides, and nothing to lose. They put it all down, and they have another 2 rides to improve on those. See the slow-mo there of Visa and that blunt McNasty. Sage, that was a really good example, actually, of blunt McNasty. See what the judges have to say. While we wait for the results, Visa there, that's his coach. Just waiting patiently. So our next paddler in this heat will be Adria Villa from Spain. Adria second in the World Cup in Argentina. Junior 6th in the World Championships in Argentina. Okay, 711.67 points for Visa. A good, solid first ride there. Remember, 3 rides. 2 rides count combined. We'll give them their total score as we have eyes upstream ready for our next paddler. Bib number 181, Adria Villa from Spain, local guy, just dropping down into the feature.
Adria, I believe, is another athlete where this is his first year as a senior, and as you can see, he is not feeling the pressure. It just starts off with a massive wing over into a big McNasty, throwing it the other way. See what he sets up for next, going in for the front loop. So we're seeing pretty similar rides here so far. Both starting off with McNasties, maybe trying for the tricky woo, but unfortunately just catches an edge. Trying to stay in that feature, but catches a flush, unfortunately. But he still has a bit of time to get back up and maybe get one more trick in. We will have to see. 10 seconds left on the clock. Can he get one more in? Goes for that tricky woo again, right on the buzzer. We'll have to see what the judges thought of that, but definitely a super solid start from our first year senior.
Yeah, nice first ride. Unlucky flush, but made the most of the time he had left. There's a bit of a theme here, actually, at this World Championships, is people are flushing off the back of the wave, getting back in, and then, with only a few seconds to go, putting some really big, high-scoring moves in only the final seconds, is showing that the pressure's on, but also showing that these competitors know the rules, have read the scores, and know what they need to do to make sure they score as highly as possible to get through to the next round. There's Adria from Spain. Next up, just while we wait for the judges to confer and get these scores out to us, we'll be moving on to number 76, Fabian Bennett from France, 21 years of age. 490 points on the board for Adria.
Not a bad start. Definitely a good warm-up. So our next next man is Fabian from France. Placed 4th place in 2015 World Championships on Garb, so he is looking to really throw down here. And there it is with that beautiful entry move right off the bat. I actually believe, wow, a huge McNasty. Just throwing down the points, not even scared to go for that air. You'll see a lot of athletes kind of not quite going for the huge air tricks as much because they are easier to flush in this feature, but Fabian not caring, just getting massive air on every single trick he's throwing. And there is the front loop. I reckon he's scored huge on almost every trick this ride. Super impressive. We'll have to see what he goes for next. Some split wheels, maybe trying for the lunar, but unfortunately doesn't quite get it high enough. And there's the other side. Maybe, just catching the flush. We'll have to see what the judges thought about those two lunars.
Yeah, that was impressive there by Fabian. Look at that, the slow-mo.
Look at that. His head is above the water, which is hard to do here, ladies and gentlemen, because the foam pile is quite big. So that just really gives you an idea of just how much air he's gotten.
Yeah, you can see him plugging the nose and just reaching up, projecting his boat out of the water. It's really impressive stuff. Fabian, French paddler, with quite a French style about him. These guys are always really explosive and dynamic in the features. I think we'll be pretty pleased with that. 716.67 points on the board. Brilliant first run from the Frenchman.
Some tight scores right now for first and second place. Next up, we have Bennett Smith from the USA. Bennett, a super experienced paddler, has paddled all over the US at multiple different world championships. A really just explosive and pretty paddler. Trains with Hunter Kadich all the time, who you'll see later. And there he is, showing his experience. Entry move and two McNasties in less than 10 seconds of surfing. Plugs in for the front loop, bringing it around. And there's the Space Godzilla textbook, really selling all of his tricks to the judges. Maybe trying for that right, maybe not getting quite enough air. The Space Godzilla does have to be an aerial move, so we'll have to see what the judges think. And bringing it around into a beautiful lunar orbit. A super good start for Bennett. Unfortunately, catches the flush right towards the end of his ride, but a definitely good, solid start from Bennett.
Yeah, really good ride there as we just hear the final buzzer for Bennett. Really explosive. You can just see on screen there, Clay Wright, the coach for the US team. I'm sure Clay will be proud of Bennett for that ride, really throwing it down early on. Just like you said, Sage, in the first 10 seconds, he got an entry move, McNasty's both ways, not wasting any time, making sure he's getting as many difficult tricks on the board as possible. See the slow-mo there, just tapping the bottom, but still that. His head almost touching the spray now because he whips that boat over the top. I'm interested to see what the score is. 753.33 for Bennett Smith. These are some high-scoring rides for these guys.
Oh yeah, should definitely be happy with that. But this guy right here is looking to throw down a massive ride. I've gotten to see him train in Nottingham for the last couple months, and he's been on fire.
Yeah, Harry Price from Great Britain, really nice guy. Really deserves a spot in the semi-finals. Really nice entry move there from Harry. Spinning around. Nice aerial McNasty, not wasting any time. McNasty the other way. Similar to Bennett's ride, really, as he surfs up on that shoulder there on surfer's left, going for the orbit. Harry Price trains in Nottingham, England. Really good training venue for whole paddling. Keeping the boat moving around, looking for some split wheels, left-hand cartwheels, looking for the orbit to the left, retaining in the feature. Harry Price, really good first ride here. Looking for a split wheel into cartwheels, making sure he gets those links. And hear the 10-second buzzer, just flushes off the back. He's going to leave it there. Harry Price, solid first ride. Let's just see what the judges score that ride. He kept his boat rotating and moving in all sorts of directions as long as he possibly could.
Oh yeah, super solid first ride. I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
So much pressure on these guys, you know. 20 to 10. It's a big cut.
It's intense.
Yeah, 50% of the field we're going to say goodbye to today. And I think it's quite easy to say that most of these guys competing in the quarterfinals could make it. On their day, they could make the cut into the semi-finals. So I think now it's all about making sure that they're in the right headspace and done their training, confident with what they've got to do, keeping it together. 596.67 on the board for Harry Price from Great Britain. Good solid first ride for Harry.
Solid first ride, but I don't think it was quite what he was looking for, so we'll definitely be looking to improve that. And next up we have Visa's second of 3 rides.
That's it. Visa, impressive 700 plus points on his first ride. This guy threw down on his first. Let's see what he's got in store for us. Away from Finland, Visa. Entering the feature.
All right, and here he goes, starting straight into that big McNasty again. Really just being super consistent. Unfortunately, doesn't get his blunt McNasty quite the way he wanted to, so he might come over and set back up for that again. Looks like he even made it clear of the foam pile on that, so hopefully the judges agreed and he can score that beautiful blunt McNasty. A super snappy loop right there. Just throwing down. We'll see what else. A massive textbook Space Godzilla, really racking up all of the kind of safer points. You don't see him going for anything super massive. But there is something massive, a lunar orbit right on the last couple seconds of his ride. Unfortunately, hitting the rock on some cartwheels and missing his last tricks, but another really good ride.
Yeah, really consistent there, Visa from Finland. You see the support in the crowd as Visa completes his second ride. He's got that blunt McNasty down, isn't he, on that surfer's left shoulder. Really nice. Yeah, slow-mo of him doing that. It says here that, how did he get into kayaking? My dad took me out for a rip. And there we go, he obviously enjoyed it. Look at that huge aerial Space Godzilla. He's a really dynamic paddler, whipping that boat round, just wasting no time at all. There we go. So a really good example there, slow motion, blunt McNasty. Should put that some sort of training video for the trick, actually. That was really good. Okay, here we go. So second ride improves, 735 points on the board. So these scores now are starting to creep up.
And this is actually super consistent on both rides, getting 2 really close scores. And here we have our local Adria. Adria sitting up again for another beautiful entry move. Goes back in straight into the McNasty. Bam, there it is. He's gonna go and set up for his other side, and there it is. Super fast flurry of tricks right there, and brings it into the front loop, not wasting any time at all. I'm sure he will be happy with this ride, and maybe goes in for the tricky woo. A very, very hard trick to score, and goes in for the lunar orbit, trying to link it to a back loop. A very impressive ride right now. Oh, and just trying for the other tricky woo, but catches the flush. Looks like he's going to call it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was impressive, though. Kept his boat moving.
Yeah, definitely.
19-year-old. Came second the World Cup in Argentina in the junior category. So this fella moving up into the seniors now and showing the guys what he's made of. Adria definitely wanted to secure himself a place in the semi-finals. See what the judges score that particular ride. Up next, guys, we have Fabian and Bennett from France, number 76. Okay, 480, total of 970 points on the board for Adria. As we look upstream now, really dynamic paddler, Fabian, going huge, pretty much most of his tricks on that first ride. Let's see what he's got now as he drops in for an entry move.
Another beautiful snappy entry move right off the back. Oh, unfortunately, catching his stern on that McNasty. Tries to bring it around again, but maybe wasn't straight enough. We'll have to see. And brings it around. There it is. A big, beautiful McNasty. And he's going to go for the other side. There it is.
not a bad start to his second ride. He still has one more anyway, so even if this isn't his exact competition ride, he still has another chance to impress the judges. There it is, another textbook, beautiful front loop. Brings around, trying for the lunar. That'll be close. We'll have to see what the judges thought of it. And brings around for the other lunar. Beautiful. Another super great ride from Fabian.
Yeah, Fabian just pulling out a lunar orbit a couple of seconds before the buzzer. Really good, solid ride again. 700 plus points on his first ride. Let's see what the judges think of that as the slow-mo aerial McNasty that we see. He's really reaching up for the sky, looking for that future water as he rotates his boat around. Look at that. Really nice aerial McNasty. Gigi Prod kayak there that he's paddling is obviously suits his style very well. So made by Gigi himself, who is a Frenchman. While we wait for Fabian's score to come in, our next paddler up for the United States of America will be bib number 212, Bennett Smith. Bennett put down a really solid first ride. Experienced paddler. Came 5th in 2013 World Championships. And he has podium finishes in numerous American competitions. Sponsored by Nutrient Food, Mammoth Clothing, Kokatat, Jackson Kayak. Okay, 7:10, slightly, only a few points less than his first ride, still solid. As we see Bennett Smith getting ready, 753.33 on Bennett's first ride. Let's see what he's got.
So Bennett just dropping in. Looks like he's going to go for that wing over right off the bat, and then brings it into two beautiful McNasties. A very common ride plan that we're seeing so far is just both McNasties right off the bat. And there it is. Brings it into a Space Godzilla. Throwing some super solid tricks so far. There it is, the front loop. Setting back up again. Looks for the other Space Godzilla. And then straight into the lunar orbit. Not wasting any time racking up the big points. Maybe trying for a tricky woo, but doesn't quite get it around. And there he goes for the lunar on the buzzer into the back loop.
Wow.
Very nice.
Way to put it down in the final seconds of his ride. Bennett Smith from USA. See the head coach there, Clay Wright. Obviously, he's also impressed, which is good. If the coach is happy, then generally the paddler will be also. Yeah, he's stoked. He's got getting some really high-scoring tricks there. And the orbit into back loop, I think, as well, Sage, we saw. Let's see what the judges score that. Bennett Smith waiting patiently. Okay, combined 1,673, 920 points on his second ride, so he's improved by around 200 points from his first ride. Bennett Smith, what we're going to see on his third ride?
We will have to see, maybe breaking 1,000 on his next ride, hopefully. But someone who's looking to go even bigger is Harry Price, and he has the thumbs up for his second ride.
Yeah, Harry knows he can do better than his first. So he's got to put it together in these next two rides for Harry as he drops down. Nice entry move there from Harry. Okay, there we go. Big McNasty. And the other way, reaching for the sky, staying nice and attentive in the middle of the pile, looking for the orbit. Let's see what the judges think to that. Harry knows when he's scored a trick, so you may see him going for the same move again if he's not convinced that he scored it. Okay, orbit into cartwheel, staying nice and attentive. I don't know how he managed it, but he's still in the feature. Orbit again the other way. This is a nice second ride into tricky woo, stays nice and retentive. A few more seconds on the clock for Harry Price from Great Britain, going for a phonics monkey with a few seconds to go, just flushing off the bag. I think that's a better second ride from Harry.
Definitely more of the ride he was looking for. We'll have to see what the judges thought of it.
Harry trains at Nottingham Hope Airport, where the World Cup, one of the World Cup events will be next year, and then the following year, 2021, the World Championships will be held in Nottingham. So Harry lives locally to Nottingham and trains there a lot. Used to seeing him ripping up the inlet gate, which is one of the features on the course that lends itself really well to some of these tricks that we're seeing. Great training venue, and you can see why, as Harry's doing pretty well throwing down in this feature here in Sort. Harry sponsored by Palm. Just talking to his judge there. Okay, 853, that's more like it from Harry Price. 1,450 points now. That's more like it, Harry Price, second ride.
Definitely will be more happy with that.
Okay, so we're going to move back to the top of the order again with bid number 64, Visa Rakola from Finland. Combined score of 1,446. Let's see what Visa's got in store for us as he paddles from adjacent to the feature on river left. Enters the feature now, looking for a really big snappy McNasty. Surfing around, getting himself to the top of the pile, looking for that blunt McNasty, which is his signature move out here. He's obviously been training hard to nail that one. Really big aerial Space Godzilla, wasting no time, going for a front loop with a bit of a twist, so maybe Space Godzilla, but he's already scored that, we think. So huge aerial front loop from Visa. That was really impressive, making sure he's getting those huge bonuses, and also Space Godzilla the other way. Okay, looking for the orbit, and he manages to pull that end through as he just catches an edge there, but he made the most of his 45 seconds as we hear the buzzer. Visa's real happy with that. He's pretty consistent, isn't he, Visa? Those three rides we've just seen.
Yeah, super consistent and a very nice paddler. I believe he actually placed 20th last year in Argentina, so he's definitely looking to better that placement. We'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's been training since the Worlds in Argentina. The Worlds hole in Argentina, slightly different to this one. This one's probably got a bit more power to it. Slightly less stable, but still the paddlers are capable of pulling some of these really big aerial moves, looking for huge bonuses, using the power to their advantage as we wait for Visa's score to come in. Visa's coach there. They've obviously been practicing that handshake. Okay, 795, so improved again. 1,530 points will be Visa's final score in these quarterfinals here. As we move along to Adria from Spain. Currently 970 points on the board. He has one more ride left. Let's see if he can improve on that. As he has the thumbs up from Paul Shepherd, the head judge here out at the World Championships.
Just right into a big, fat entry move right off the bat. Fortunately, misses a pass on the McNasty and misses another one, getting a flippy-floppy roll right there, but brings it back in, straight into his McNasty. Whoa! Another window shade. Unfortunately, those do not score tricks, but they do look quite cool. Bringing it into the tricky wheel. Tries a lunar, but unfortunately is right there on the surfer's right shoulder and catches that flush. About 15 seconds left. We'll have to see if that's enough time to get back into the feature and throw some more points. He is almost there, paddling hard. It is so hard to throw a trick after flushing late because you are so out of breath. And a Space Godzilla linked to split wheel right on the buzzer. Should be very happy with that.
Yeah. It's so difficult, you know, in this feature. If you flush, you usually end up quite far down the eddy. So have to work really hard to get back in and then perform these tricks that take a lot of energy and power to complete. So ideally these paddlers are looking to retain in the feature for the entire 45. Sometimes, unluckily, you do get a flush every now and then. footage pan to Oriel Colombe on the bank there, which is his coach. Oriel paddling out here in the Salt Worlds in 2001 and has his own kite business in the town. A couple of kids now looking to get into the sport. Okay, 230 points, so he'll keep 970. Adria 970 as we move on to Fabian Leno, the guy who likes to go large. Currently got 1,426 points on the board. So let's see what he's got.
And I'm guessing he's going to start with some big air, and there it is right off the bat. Big McNasty tries to bring around the other way, and there's not quite as big as he can go, but a super solid other side McNasty. And there it is, a massive, oh my goodness, he just threw a space linked to loop, a very hard trick that we are not seeing here very often, but unfortunately catches a flush trying to throw another aerial trick. He still has time though, powering right back up the eddy, has some big points on the board. We'll have to see what he goes for next.
Yeah, Fabian sitting currently in 4th position. An unlucky flush there, but he's a really explosive paddler to watch. He, as he just gives a thumbs up to the judges to say, yep, that's me done. I've given it all I've got, so let's see where I end up. Fabian from France. Super explosive, really launching his boat out of the water, looking for those air and huge bonuses. There's one there, really nice. Space Godzilla. Was this into the front loop? It was. We haven't seen many of those combos.
No, they're really hard to stick in this hole, so super cool to see that pulled out already this early into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Fabian. He'll be okay, 473, so keeps the first two, so 1,426.67 points on the board. It's pretty solid. Okay, we move on to Bennett Smith, who's currently in the top spot with 1,673 points. Bennett Smith from the USA. Really exciting paddler to watch as he drops down. I'm sure he'll start with an entry move.
Yeah, and there it is, just a classic wing over right off the bat as he hits the feature straight into a McNasty. He'll go the other way. Unfortunately, doesn't get that McNasty. He'll have to go for it again. And there it is. Really just snapping around his carbon kayak. And straight into a big, clean air loop. A beautiful ride so far. He goes in, sets up, goes for the Space Godzilla, and sticks it, almost catching a flush, but manages to stay in, trying for that lunar. We'll have to see what the judges thought about the height. Goes for it again, definitely selling it this time. What does he have next? All right, so Bennett having a super good score right now. We'll have to see if he betters it. Just waiting for the judges to add everything up. Not an easy job that they have. You can see the slow motion there of Bennett's loop. Notice how when he lands, he keeps his paddle completely out of the water. That means it scores clean, which gives him even more points on top of that trick's original score. It's Bennett just waiting, sitting there with Judge Clay Wright. And as score comes in with a 763.33. So he'll actually better his score by about 10 points. So super happy with that. Those are some solid rides he is going into quarterfinals with. So we'll have to see how it pans out against all the other athletes. And next up we have Harry Price from Great Britain, a former junior medalist from 2017 World Championships in San Juan. That's why he's wearing the pink bib. And there it is into a big wing over right off the bat, bringing it into a McNasty, a super snappy, powerful paddler. Really knows how to finish tricks and sell it to the judges. Not quite sure what happened with the stern there, but we'll have to see if the judges thought that it was a textbook McNasty. Bringing it into the lunar orbit. Going for the lunar the other way, and beautiful linking it into some cartwheels. Linking tricks together definitely puts a bigger score on your tricks. That is what you want to throw. And there it is, splits into some cartwheels, into some more split wheels, potentially setting up for a tricky woo, but decides not to go for it with only a few more seconds on the board. What will it be? Goes for the tricky woo right on the buzzer. Another beautiful ride from Harry. Harry messing around. He's just going to throw some tricks for the crowd now while we wait for his score. He's sponsored by Palm Equipment, Sweetwater Coaching, and Lean Boat Center. Got into kayaking when he saw some kayaks at his local swimming pool and begged his mom to let him have a go. He loves being outdoors, exploring, and playing sports. He's also studying chemistry and physics. Just showing that slow motion replay on that tricky woo he threw. The tricky woo, it has to have every single end above 45 degrees, so it'll be up to the judges if he got his kayak high enough for each of those rotations. And we're waiting for the official score right here. Our judges have been working tirelessly all week, judging every single category. There are only about, I believe, 9 judges total, so everyone working every day. If someone isn't judging, they're timing, they're scribing. These guys do not get a break. It has been nonstop for them all week. And Harry in the kiss or cry area, waiting to see his final score. It looks like his score is in the 673, making his total score 1,526 points, putting him currently in third. We will have to see after 3 more heats of men if that is enough to make the top 10 cut. So there's our scores from the first heat. Bennett, Smith, Visa, Harry, and Fabian and Adria finishing it out. So I believe we are just going to go downstream to get an interview.
Okay, I'm down here in the mix zone with Adria Villa from Sword. So, what's it like having the World Championships in your hometown?
It's a special moment for me to compete in front of all the people from my town, in front of my mom and friends, so it's a special moment, and that's it.
Okay, great. And your rides, you performed well. How are you feeling?
I don't feel really good with my rise, but I'm happy because I made it to quarterfinals, so I'm happy with that. I don't need anything more now.
Okay, and I saw on your on the bank on the far side, Oriel Colombe, he's also a bit of a legendary paddler in this area here. He's obviously been giving you some tips and hints on how to compete on the international stage. Is he a good coach?
Yeah, of course, Oriol is a legend here in Sword and around the world. Everyone knows him, and of course, he is always helping me. The most things I can do here is thanks of him. So I need to say thank you to Oriol for everything.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome. Adria, well done and good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, so we are just getting ready for our second heat of men's kayak quarterfinals. In this second heat, we have Ander from Spain, Michał from Poland, Hunter from the USA, Alan from Great Britain, and James from Great Britain. So another super stacked heat. We have some very solid athletes coming up. And we are going to start off with Ander, a Spanish local. I know he's excited to throw down in one of his local spots. Starting off with a beautiful entry move into some McNasties. Ander is a super experienced athlete. He has been going to Worlds for many, many years now. Is used to the pressure, and it shows, just throwing trick after trick. Brings it into a phonics monkey, not a popular trick that we are seeing here, as it is very hard to get the stern high enough to actually score. But brings it into a tricky woo, throwing some very high tricks. This ride really going all out, and there's the lunar orbit. With 10 seconds left, we'll see what he has to throw, and there is the loop, trying to link it into some cartwheels. Unfortunately, catches an edge and cleaning it up into a cartwheel to split wheel to cartwheel right on the buzzer. Ander should be very happy with that first ride, representing his home country here in sunny Sort, Spain. So we are pumped to see him out here.
Okay, I'm back from the interview. Quickly running back along the back of the tents here to get back into the announcer's tent. Some good ride there from Ander, another local paddler. Swords really has produced some incredible paddlers over the years. And you can see why it's such an amazing place to be. The town of Sword always welcome paddlers and spectators and support staff. It's really nice to have a feature that's in the middle of a town and just across the road, your hotel, and there's really nice bars and restaurants and good weather, good people. Okay, 690 points.
A solid start, probably not as big as he wanted. Maybe not quite scoring that phonics monkey he was going for, but we'll have to see what he has in store for his next ride. And next up, we have Polish paddler Michał.
Michał, 19 years of age, from Krakow.
Dropping in with
a Fest.
massive entry move right off the bat. I believe that's the biggest we have seen. I'm not sure how he did it. Straight into two McNasties. And there is a massive clean front loop, possibly getting a clean and a huge bonus on that, bringing it into a Space Godzilla. Definitely a beautiful ride so far. That is an amazing feeling to get those big tricks, and actually a beautiful phonics monkey right there, keeping the bow most likely over that 45-degree angle that you need to score it. So super impressive. That's not a move we are seeing from many men or any other athletes, and bringing it into some cartwheels to some split wheels right on the buzzer. A super good ride for Michał.
Yeah, Michał from Poland. There's Bartosz on the bank there, supporting his fellow teammate. Really nice, really impressive, explosive paddler. See the slow-mo there of that really nice McNasty whipping that Gigi around, staying nice and retentive in the feature. Full 45 seconds, making the most of his ride. Look at that really nice, clean air loop. So for those of you at home that don't understand some of the terminology, or maybe have heard it for the first time, clean will be when you initiate and complete the move without the use of your paddles. So you'll see the paddlers raising their paddles up in the air just to show the judges that they're not using the paddles to initiate or complete the move itself.
Mihao just sitting in the kiss or cry zone, waiting for his score from his first ride.
What's it called, kiss and cry? So do you know why it's called that?
I believe the officials just kind of created that name for it because after your ride, when you see your score, you will either want to blow a kiss to the crowd or you will want to cry. So
Makes sense.
I believe that is the inspiration behind the name. And he definitely wants to blow a kiss with that face. Coming in with a 996.67 point ride. So a lovely start for Michał.
Yeah, really impressive first ride from Michał from Poland. He'll be super pleased with that one as we move on to Hunter Kadic from the US of A. No stranger to competition, Sage.
Oh, definitely. Hunter destroys all of us in US competitions all the time. Placed pretty well in Argentina last year and brings it around. Entry move right off the bat into Big McNasty. Another Big McNasty, unfortunately, just catches the flush. That is not what he wants, but Hunter is one of those athletes that can come in and just throw trick after trick in a short amount of time. So we will have to see how he recovers from this. And there is that Phonics monkey, potentially even keeping it high enough to really sell it to the judges. And there it is, throwing the McNasty again, making sure to get those points. Only a few more seconds left. Let's see what he has. Oof, maybe going for the other McNasty, just catching a flush. Definitely not the ride he is capable of, but we'll have to see how he feels. Maybe just getting the first ride jitters out of the way.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe that'll be his throwaway ride, Sage. Maybe he'll decide, okay, put that one behind me. I've got 2 more to go. And he'll put it down in those. Really nice aerial McNasty there. Hunter, obviously, someone that can put it out of the bag when he needs to. He's been competing for a number of years. He's a junior world champion in 2012 and also 2013. And GoPro Mountain Games winner also. Sponsored by Dagger Kayaks, Whitewater Express, Kokotap, Mammoth Clothing, Deeds Alone.
Hunter's just sitting down there with our team coach, Clay Wright, waiting for his score.
370 for Hunter. He won't be pleased with that.
No, definitely won't be, but he can definitely come back and bring it around in his next 2 rides, so we'll have to see. Next up, we have Alan Ward from Great Britain, a very, very experienced athlete. I believe he was telling me he's been to 9 world championships.
As you're right, yeah, I grew up paddling with Alan. Local spot, Hurley Weir, the famous Hurley Weir as he drops in. Nice entry move from Alan.
Almost a double entry move.
Yeah, catching an edge, but staying retained in the feature. Okay, he's been doing this really nice blunt McNasty.
Oh, beautiful, and
clean.
cleans it up. Just coming around, looks like he'll go for it the other way. Wow, very impressive. We'll have to see if that second blunt made it clean from the foam pile. That is a requirement to score a blunt, but that is up to the judges. Wow, throwing a Phonics straight into a lunar, not wasting any time, getting the massive tricks on the scoreboard. Maybe looking for the tricky woo. Tries to go for it the other way, maybe scores a split wheel instead. Bringing it around for the lunar orbit, and that is time.
Alan
Should
Ward.
be super happy with that ride.
Oh yeah, that was a high scoring ride, I think. Alan, he although he's been competing for years and years and years, he still manages to just put it down when it's needed. He's such a talented paddler. Growing up in the UK, paddling Hurley Weir, Nottingham, but also traveling the world and competing on the world stage. He's got a good attitude towards competing, never puts too much pressure on himself, always up for a laugh. Alan Ward there. That blunt McNasty as he pulls that stern through, looking to go clean on the loop as well for that. But I have to see what the judges score that. I'm really excited to see what the score is from Alan Ward.
It could be possible that this will be our highest scoring ride so far. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Alan looks pretty stoked, and he should be. He should be really happy with that. Alan's dad, Tim Ward, is the GB team manager. I'm sure he wonder if he watched that or whether he was too nervous to look away. I'm sure he'll be told.
I'm sure with 9 world championships under his belt, Tim is probably pretty used to watching Alan compete by now.
Yeah, you're right, I think he is. Alan Ward, one of 5 Brits that made it through into the quarterfinals. So that's
Yes, the British having a very, very strong men's team this year.
okay, we're still waiting. Alan decided not to go to the kiss and cry area. 896.67 points for Alan Ward. Good, solid first ride, Sage.
Definitely a solid first ride. We'll have to see. Maybe the judges didn't like those blunt McNasties. Hopefully he can score even higher on his next ride. But this is another man that can throw down James Bevington Pringle from Great Britain.
Yeah, Pringle is a former world champion in Plattling 2011, as he shows why he is a former world champion. Pringle, or James Bevington, throwing a massive aerial McNasty front loop looking to initiate a phonics monkey, not quite getting the rotation there, going into a really nice, impressive orbit into cartwheels, looking to initiate that phonics monkey and completes it. Pringle there going for the phonics the other way, again not quite completing the rotation, so he's going to try again. This time he pulls it through. James Bevington here from Great Britain really showing what he can do. He took a few years out, that's time. He took a few years out from competition, and he's done the grand comeback. And he hasn't. I don't think he's done a little bit of training, but this guy can just do, you know, a bit of training and just come back and throw down like that. It's really impressive.
Definitely very impressive. And I've actually heard Pringle is a raw vegan, so not letting the rabbit food slow him down at all.
Yeah, Pringle, an avid raw vegan. It's obviously working for him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's great to see Pringle getting back into competition out here with the GB team. He's a good friend of mine. Paddled around the world together for a good number of years. Spent a lot of time out in Uganda, surfing those big waves. Big smiles from Pringle as we wait for the scores to come in. He's looking intently up at the scoreboard, just waiting to see what that first ride scored, but I'm pretty confident that Pringle, okay, 973.33, very nice.
Very solid ride.
Yeah. Just do another one of those.
Definitely, that should get you in to semi-finals. We'll have to see some very high-scoring rides that will follow after this as well. So
yeah, and coming in now as we go to the top, back at the top of the heat here, and dropping in for an entry move into McNasty. McNasty the other way, nice and attentive. And here looking to initiate phonics monkey, completes that, going into cartwheels left, maybe some cleans. Cutting himself out on the shoulder there, going for a tricky woo on that surfer's left shoulder. Really nice example of a tricky woo. And going for the orbit and retaining into cartwheels. This is a really nice second ride here for Enda.
yeah. Oh, unfortunately catching the flush on a carve out. Not happy about that, but he luckily still has one more ride.
Yeah. And that was a nice ride. Kept his boat moving the entire time. Obviously a very fit paddler. Didn't seem out of breath at all after that ride, even though continually moving his boat around, scoring big points.
Yeah, impressive that he's not out of breath. I know I'll be in there for about 15 seconds and I have to take some air.
Yeah, big time, yeah. Okay, it is hard work in there, guys. You know, a lot of the time these guys can't breathe because they're underwater. So, you know, it's about taking breath when you can and filling your lungs. And looked to be disappointed that he flushed at the end there, but he only had about 5 seconds left. So, okay. 1,336 points, so just slightly less on that second ride. Still has one more to go, and 23 years old, in 8th the Junior World Championships at NOC. Okay, we move on to our second paddler in this heat, Mikhail from Poland. Really good first ride. And Mikhail will be looking to repeat that for sure, as he was rather nice entry move.
And actually going straight into some cartwheels from his entry move, taking a bit of a different approach than going for the McNasties, and goes in for a McZilla. That is a McNasty to Space Godzilla. It scores the same as a McNasty, but definitely looks cool. And he just comes around looking for that front loop. And there's the Space Godzilla again, really getting some high scoring tricks. He's gonna go for that Phonics again. Fortunately, looked a bit low, but we'll have to see what the judges think. And that is time. So maybe not as high scoring as his first ride, but
yeah,
if you score a good first ride, the pressure is a little bit off on your second and third. So we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, that's right, Sage. If you score a good first ride, then you've got 2 more rides to add to that high first score. Remember, there's 20 paddlers in this quarterfinals, and we'll be cutting the field 50%, cutting it in half. Only 10 will go through to the semi-finals. So it's a pretty brutal part of the competition, to be honest with you. The field does get cut in half. And all these paddlers on their day definitely could make it into the semis. You see some slow-mo there at Mikhail. His fellow teammate Bartosz, unfortunately missing out of the quarterfinals, but he's on the bank there helping support his teammate. Okay, 573, so it is a lower scoring ride. 1,570 on the board, but he had such a high scoring first ride that still puts him in good stead as we move on to Hunter Kadic.
And there goes Hunter dropping in. He's looking for a much bigger ride than his first, and there it is. Oh, unfortunately missing that McNasty again. Just not quite feeling it, but there it is. Beautiful straight over McNasty, not even giving it a question of whether it would score or not. Brings it into some cartwheels linked to a tricky woo. And brings it around to a lunar orbit, straight into some more cartwheels, carves it back around. Only a few more seconds left. There's the 10-second buzzer. Hunter probably looking for some big tricks right here, and unfortunately just catches the flush on his space.
Okay, Hunter is definitely happy with that second ride. It was definitely improvement on his first. You see there, Hunter throwing himself around to complete that McNasty underweather way. Looks he reaches high, just flicks the kayak over the top. Hunter can definitely make the semi-finals. He's a paddler that's experienced a competition. We'll have to wait and see what that second score comes in at. Waiting patiently over with Clay Wright, team coach.
Just waiting for that score from our judges. It comes in at a 783, so a vast improvement, but I definitely know he has more in him.
Yeah, 1,700 plus on the board as we move on to Alan Ward from Great Britain. 896 points Alan scored on his first ride. Really solid ride. And you see Alan, he's just ferrying out, looking to drop in for a solid entry move, and then he'll just start racking off the moves. There we have it. Nice wing over, surfing out. He's going to be looking for that blunt McNasty. Okay, he's going to go one way. There we are. Okay, that's probably the hardest direction. So now he's going to go for the direction that he's used to doing it perfect. So that's blunt McNasty both ways into orbit. Okay, Okay, looking for the Phonics monkey, and an unfortunate flush from Alan Ward. Okay, he's made it pretty well into the eddy quite quickly, so he's got a few more seconds on the clock as Alan Ward just ferries over Boyle to go for an orbit into front loop.
That, I believe, scores as a trophy move, so some very high points right there.
Yeah, unfortunate flush, but Alan knew he needs to get a few more points on the board, so going for those, go for a trophy move, why not? You know, a few more seconds to go, let's go for a trophy. Alan Ward's as a junior world champion in Australia, in Penrith Worlds. He's made the team, GB team now for almost 16 years, 15, 16 years, something crazy like that anyway. Alan definitely can get a place in the semi-finals and finals. Okay, 1,656 points, 760 points, which is pretty good considering flushed.
Oh yeah, definitely getting rewarded for that trophy move.
Okay, up next, James Pringle Bevington, a 900+ first ride as he, nice entry move into a really big Poppy McNasty and going the other way. He was a master of the McNasty, you know, he's paddling some of these shallow spots in the UK. He still manages to pull those tricks out of nowhere, and in this feature he's unfortunately just flushing off the back.
Speaking of shallow, hitting the rock there, unfortunately getting flushed out because of it.
Yeah, still has time on the clock as Pringle paddles his way back up. Okay, that's a 10-second buzzer for Pringle. Really solid first ride, so this is just adding to that high score right now. Looking to initiate a Phonics monkey, unfortunately not quite been able to initiate and complete. Just flushing off the back there, but still decent second ride from Pringle. He's happy to be here. He's been enjoying his holiday as well as training, and he's at the campsite. You can find Pringle sunning himself by the pool with his fellow teammate Alan Ward, who seems to be in some sort of tanning competition at the moment.
It actually is Adam, who we saw in C1 earlier, who's in a tanning competition with. And I believe Adam is currently winning, but apparently Pringle is right on his tail. I believe they've been doing a city pool tour as well, seeing how many pools they can go to in one day.
That's it, so getting time to tan himself in between throwing down rides like we've just seen. So over 1,500 points for Pringle on the board as we move on to our local Spanish paddler. Going back to the top of the order for Ander. Ander there, looking to improve on the first two rides. Nice Phonics monkey from Ander in that matching kayak and kag. Really nice tricky woo. It's almost an aerial back end there that he pulls around a nice orbit, really working that surfer's left shoulder, pretty much doing all his moves in that surfer's left shoulder. Quite a retentive pocket in that side. Nice big loop in the middle of the feature there. Okay, a few more seconds on the clock.
Just misses that lunar on the end of his ride, but looks like he threw down a lot bigger than his other two rides, so I bet he's improved and he'll be happy with that.
Yeah, hopefully you guys caught the leaderboard there with Bennett Smith taking the top spot and James Pringle Bevington in second place. So this is the third ride for these guys in Heat 1 of the quarterfinals. The K1 men all looking to secure a spot in the semis. And hopefully progressing through to the finals. This ICF World Freestyle Championships out here in sunny, hot Sort. Been a bit of a heat wave over in Europe at the moment. some record highs being recorded in France, over 40 degrees. I think we're in the sort of mid-30s here at the moment in Salt. Ander looks anxiously towards the scoreboard. Oriel there, team coach and also a very experienced paddler. And yeah, he's really hoping for a spot. Okay, a 900-point ride. So that's the highest scoring ride out of all 3 of his rides. So 1,590 points for Ander on the board.
He will definitely be excited about that. That was more of the ride he was hoping for this time. So, and next we have Michał from Poland. Michał dropping in, and there is that classic wing over entry move. Brings it straight into a big McNasty and into the other McNasty right away, not wasting any time setting up. Such a strong start, and he will just paddle back up and go into the front loop. Trying maybe for a space guzzle, but not quite getting the needed air. Maybe getting in on that one and just catching an edge afterward. He'll set back up for some more tricks. Let's see what it'll be. Goes for the phonics, but unfortunately does not throw it into the loop. And there it is the other way. Can he stick it? Yes, and one more lunar attempt on the buzzer, but unfortunately doesn't get it, and a crowd for the spectators.
Yeah, Miguel. Nice 3rd ride. That big aerial Space God auxiliary front loopy thing. To see what the judges score it. Sometimes it's, you know, these paddlers initiate one move and then halfway through it can turn into another. Especially with these front loops, sometimes hitting the bottom and then forcing the kayak slightly off axis, and then the kayaker has only a split second to decide what they're going to do, whether they're going to turn it into something different. Okay, 543. So 1,570 points. Okay, up next, Hunter Kadic from the US of A. 783 in his last ride, and this is his last ride, so nice entry move.
And there is a classic wing over. Tries to bring it into the McNasty, but opting out, not quite liking how it feels, but there is the other side. Tries to bring it straight into the next McNasty, and there it is. Staying in the feature, bringing it around for the phonics monkey. Right into a big front loop. And then into the lunar, just not missing a beat, linked into cartwheels, linked into a tricky woo, into more cartwheels. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be a massive scoring trick right there. Trying to go for the lunar the other way, unfortunately just doesn't get it high enough, but oh, just flushing on his last trick, but he should be pretty stoked with that.
Wow, incredible last ride from Hunter. That was amazing. I couldn't keep up with it.
Neither could I, wow.
I'm not sure how the judges cope with rides like that.
Do not envy the judges right now.
Yeah, just mixing it up. There we go, some big McNasties, but some of those were linked then into some phonics monkeys, into car wheels, into split wheels. We saw tricky woos coming out of some of those. Making sure he's linking the moves together, because you do get a bonus for that. Nice aerial view of a front loop there from Hunter. I'm excited to see what this score's going to be. This could really elevate him up the leaderboard.
Oh, it definitely could.
Hunter is currently a student at Auburn University, lives in Columbus. Next to his favourite whitewater park, which is Rush South. he's happy.
Yeah, he's definitely stoked. Some amazing tricks in that ride. Just waiting with his coach Clay for the score. And there it is, 953.33, bringing his score up to 1,736 points.
Yeah, pulling out of the bag there on the third ride. Way to put yourself under pressure.
Oh, definitely. But an athlete who could definitely challenge that is Great Britain's Alan Ward, who's about to drop in for his third and final ride.
Yeah, Alan Ward from Great Britain. Experienced freestyle paddler, experienced competitor. Nice entry move, wing over, looking to that blunt McNasty, which is Alan's signature move out here. He's been practicing that in both directions also. He didn't get the first one, so he's just going to repeat and then score it again. Okay, they were nice. McNasty setting himself up for an orbit into cartwheels, working that surface left shoulder, which looks like the preferred shoulder to work in this feature. Nice pocket there. Keeps the boat nice and retentive. Looking for an orbit into front loop.
Oh, there it is. Unfortunately, catching the flush.
Yeah,
that would have been an epic high-scoring ride if he had stuck that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, just catching quite a lot of green water and that boil line there that sometimes can just flick you off the back of the feature. Okay, and that completes Alan Ward.
All right, next up we have James Bebbington from the UK. Another athlete that could really challenge the top score put down by Hunter Kadich.
Alan waiting patiently for the result to come in. Okay, 835, pretty consistent with his first ride. 1,731. A lot of paddlers are getting around that sort of score as we move on to the last paddler in this heat, James Pringle Bebbington. 1,513 on the board so far, so he'll be looking to improve with this final ride as he throws a nice entry move, looking for a really big McNasty. Okay, and going the other way. Really good start to Pringle's ride here, looking for the orbit into cartwheels, initiating the phonics monkey, not quite completing the rotation to be able to get the pop for the front loop. Okay, he's going to go again. Okay, that time he manages to flick it around. Really nice aerial front loop with Pringle. Okay, just catching a bit of green water on that pirouette. Paddles over to river right. He still has time on the clock. You just heard the 10-second buzzer for Pringle. It's all or nothing now as Pringle has a few more seconds left on the clock. Initiating the... Okay, there we go. Phonics monkey on the buzzer as he shows us a fist pump to the crowd. Pringle really happy with that, as he should be. He's been out of competition for a number of years, but coming back in strong and showing why he deserves a spot in the quarterfinals here, the World Championships.
Oh yeah, Pringle definitely throwing around another super solid ride. We will have to see where that puts him in the top 10. Hopefully that will be enough to have him make the cut, but we will have to see.
Yeah, let's hope so. I want him to make it through. He's a good friend of mine. Okay, 7.86, an improvement on his second ride, so 1,760 points. Good, solid third ride by Pringle. Okay, there we go. And that elevates Pringle into the top spot. Hunter Kadich in second place, and Alan Ward in third place so far. So a strong second heat.
All right,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Michał Sobieraj-Jakubiec coming all the way from Poland. So Michke, 2 years ago at the World Champs you were a junior, and this year you're coming back and performing amazingly, flying super high, getting great rides. How does it feel to make quarterfinals?
Oh, it feels amazing for sure. I make good rides in the prelims. I tried to go better in the quarterfinals. I had one good ride, but the two next ones didn't really went well.
Amazing performance, buddy. Coś dla fanów z Polski, na pewno dużo ludzi oglądacie i życzę ci, trzymało kciuki bardzo mocno. Co byś dla nich powiedział?
Dziękuję wszystkim, jeżeli mnie oglądali. Pozdrawiam serdecznie i w ogóle.
Okay, that was Michał Sobieraj-Jakubiec, and we're moving on to the next hit.
Okay, interview there with Miguel. And I'm joined now by Anna Bruno from the United States. Anna's just joined us from competing in the quarterfinals herself and finishing 15th, which you're really happy with, Anna.
Yeah, I am actually really happy with that. You know, for me, it's all about just, I think, small incremental progress, and I definitely met all my personal goals and exceeded expectations for myself here at Worlds. And I think just to come out and to feel competitive amongst such a talented women's field is really something to be proud of, and I'm stoked with that. So.
Yeah, it's a great result. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. And now, but all eyes here are no longer on the women. I think we're fully hyper-focused in on these top 10 last 10 athletes to go here in the what is this, the quarterfinals?
It's the quarterfinals right now, yeah. And we see Tomasz Kaplinski here. He won the World Cup last year here in Sort, in fact. So he'll be looking to get a podium spot for sure. But that's an unlucky flush for Tomasz Kaplinski from Poland.
That's the risk of going for those bigger aerial moves.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, it's not an easy feature to work. Definitely. Sometimes the paddlers are finding it hard to throw down consistent rides, but Tomasz Kaplinski is no stranger to competition. He's won numerous World Cups and European Championships as we see him throwing his kayak round.
Just moving trick to trick, McNasty to phonics to lunar orbit to back loop to the other McNasty. He knows exactly what he needs to get points on the board and to be competitive.
That's it, as we hear the final buzzer for Tomasz, and initiates that phonics monkey on the buzzer there. I think let's see what the judges think to that. We're not the judges, but it looked pretty good to me. Tomasz, he's grown a beard.
He has grown a beard. Maybe it was all the time he spent in America. I heard it was cold there.
Oh, yeah.
I need a bit of a face warmer. But no, Tomasz, just a really tactical, strong technical paddler. His partner, Zosha, already through to the women's semi-final round, and I know that he's going to be looking to secure a spot for himself as well. Look at that, as he sets up for that back loop, just knowing exactly how to bring his boat over the top, maybe even getting air on that trick. We haven't seen that many back loops in this competition.
No, we haven't. You're right, Anna. I think a back loop's one of those moves that's quite difficult to keep the boat straight. Okay, wow. Over 1,000 points.
With a flush.
With a flush. That's really impressive. Tomasz Kaplinski, I mean, that takes the pressure off massively. These guys have 3 rides, the 2 high-scoring rides combined. Yeah, Tomasz, well done. Okay, we're going to move on to Robert Crow from Great Britain. Rob Crow paddles at Nottingham Home Pierpont. He's actually a local and lives 5 minutes away, so he spends most of his time training there. And we see him throw a real nice McNasty off the bat.
Yeah, Rob, one of our finalists in Argentina Worlds. I know he's looking to make his way back to that top 5, going for a lunar orbit, maybe getting air on that, finishing out with a cartwheel end. Again, Rob also really strong understanding of the score sheet, knowing exactly how to combine tricks together to try and maximize the points in these 45-second rides. Oh, unfortunately, catching his bow, maybe unplugging for a space or a loop. But quick recovery, lunar orbit the other direction.
Yeah, Rob Crow.
Actually, our American coach, Clay Wright, said that he was out here filming Rob Crow for a lot of the week to try and get perfect examples of how to do a lot of these tricks.
Well, there we go. You should be proud of that. Really nice phonics monkey on the buzzer there. Good solid ride from Rob. He tapped the bottom a few times, but it didn't seem to faze him too much.
Yeah. Rob paddling a carbon boat like a lot of our competitors out here today. It's always a bit of a risky maneuver, isn't it, tapping the bottom?
It is, you know, especially in carbon. I think some of the paddlers before coming out here to Sort were wondering whether or not to bring carbon or paddle plastic, and it's difficult. You see footage online and think to yourself, oh, you know, but the feature has changed a little bit.
A little bit different every day. And you know, there is a rule actually that if you start the competition in one boat, you cannot switch to another boat midway through the competition. So that means if one of these athletes was to break their carbon boat in between rounds, ooh, that would put the stress on, wouldn't it?
It would. That's getting the gaffer tape out, isn't it? And just trying to repair that thing as best you can.
Yeah.
You see
Rob, first at the Natural Games in 2018, fourth at the Argentina World Championships.
923.33 on the board for Rob Crow. I've got a feeling as we rack our way through these quarterfinals, we're just going to see some really high scores going down. All of these guys are really putting it out there as the next paddler in this heat is Peter Čonka from Slovakia. Peter's, again, no stranger to competition. He's been around for a long time. I think I remember competing with Peter back in Plattling years and years ago, probably over a decade now. That's really showing my age. And I'm here commentating while Peter's still paddling, so good on him.
Yeah, Peter and his wife Nina, who was also a competitor in our women's class earlier this morning, finishing just, I think, 11th it was, but their son, little Peter's out here as well, cheering on his parents. I'm sure we'll see him out in the future, give it or take another decade.
Yeah, definitely. A good strong start here from Peter.
Beautiful pack loop.
Choosing the plastic option, maybe because he didn't want to break his carbon boat.
Yeah, Peter, a really powerful, explosive paddler. Definitely one of the maybe larger paddlers out here on the water as well. I know he has struggled on occasion with smaller flushy features, which this one is not.
Yeah,
so,
this is a powerful, quite retentive feature.
Kind of right up Peter's alley in terms of the tricks he likes to throw and the way he likes to throw them. So I'm really expecting to see him try and showcase a lot of that 10 years of experience and skill.
Okay, just going for an orbit there on the buzzer and just flushing off the back. Peter has 2 more rides left, so let's see what he's got up his sleeve.
That is the beauty of this quarterfinal round, isn't it? You can just have one ride that doesn't quite go as planned, shake it off, 2 more, because it's 3 rides, only 2 count.
Yeah, and that was demonstrated by Isla in the quarterfinals of the ladies, where in the first ride her deck popped. So she threw that one away and then just came back and ripped it up in the next 2. So
yeah, it's worth noting that Isla did score still a solid number of points before her deck popped. So
she did, yeah.
Really, really strong performance there as she earned her spot in that semi-final round.
Okay, 420 for Peter. He won't be happy with that. Knowing Peter, he'll definitely be thinking, okay, what am I going to do now in these next 2 rides to make sure I secure myself a place in the semi-finals, which he can do.
One of the challenges as well for these athletes is knowing which of their tricks scored in their last round and how to adjust their ride to get their maximum number of points that they need. Right now, Dave McClure from Ireland dropping into the feature.
Dave is, as far as freestyle goes, fairly new to the scene, but he's a really explosive paddler, as we can see as he's throwing these really big aerial McNasties.
Yeah, Dave actually in one of his rides in the last round had his knee completely pop out of his boat and managed to just loop out of it anyway. So, oh, that was a beautiful combination. Was that a split to lunar, linked, trying for the lunar the other direction. Dave spending a lot of time at Nottingham as well, where he was actually doing his thesis on sports science.
Yeah, one of the strongest Irish paddlers we have out here.
Oh, that's what
into front loop.
I think that was a trophy move there.
Yeah.
One of those tricks that's not actually on the score sheet, but still gets is recognized enough that it gets its own points, its own recognition. That was a great first ride for Dave.
Yeah.
See Team Ireland, heaps of stoke in the stands.
Yeah. I thought that one single lady there with the Irish flag was the only supporter, but it just happened she's standing on her own in the shade. There's plenty more of them out there.
Yeah.
Dave McClure.
Dave also, some of his best mates with him on the Irish team competing as well earlier this week. And just really cool to see the development in the Irish freestyle team in the last, what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's good. Ireland have always had some strong paddlers. Remember Mo Keller, you know,
of course.
He was one of Ireland's strongest paddlers, and definitely they're always there. They're always on the scene. And
there's a bit of a generational changeover here and there, isn't there? It's like one generation kind of phases out, and sometimes there's another one chasing hot on their heels, and other times it takes just that little bit of time before this next generation comes up. And
yeah, I think that's happening in the Irish team right now.
Yeah, Dave waiting for his score there.
Okay, so wow, really big. 1,156.67 points for Dave McClure. first ride. Wow, I mean, that's great, isn't it?
That is great. I know that Dave in Argentina unfortunately did not make the top 20, and he has come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, big time, yeah.
And he is throwing down.
Okay, up next from Canada, kayaker's nice guy, Nick Troutman, one of the nicest guys you'll meet in kayaking.
It's true, and you'll be sure to know him when you meet him.
Okay, starting off strong. Went nasties both directions after his nice entry move.
Again, Nick here with his wife, Emily Jackson, who earned herself a spot in the semi-final round for the women. Beautiful front loop there, maybe getting a huge bonus on that. Boat and body completely out of the water, going for a Space Godzilla. So that loop with that cork twist, linking for some split wheels, trying to bring it around. Each of these smaller point tricks actually gaining a lot of value, and you can link them together in one smooth, fluid motion, as Nick has been trying to do there. Carving out to the side, showing those wave move skills. Nick, a world champion at the Toon Worlds. Going for a lunar orbit. Oh, this is an excellent
Really nice
first ride.
Yeah, brilliant ride there from Nick.
I know, I can see his mom, Paula, there, cheering him on. Paula brought like an arsenal of, I don't know if I could call them weapons, but cheering devices.
Yeah.
Almost like a band's worth.
Oh, yeah. And also Canada Day, I think she's using those similar devices during Canada Day, celebrating that National Day.
She was. She actually had a massive barbecue that invited everyone that was around to it, just showing that Canadian niceness. And I think that Nick's obviously inherited there. Love that aerial view of the Space Godzilla.
Yeah, Nick originating out of Beachburg, Ontario, so
grew up on the banks of the Ottawa River.
Yeah, I mean, what an awesome venue to become a great kayaker. You know, a lot of great kayakers have come out of the Ottawa Valley.
I can see a fun fact here on his bio. It says that his wife has actually beat him at several competitions. Maybe a bit of healthy competition in that relationship.
Yeah, I can imagine the conversation around a dinner table that evening.
Maybe that determines who cooks dinner and who does the dishes.
Yeah. Okay, 900 points for Nick Troutman. Good, solid first ride for Nick.
He looks happy with that. Yeah. You know, Nick's son Tucker loves the Ninja Turtles, and then Nick recently went all green with his gear, and I always wondered if it was an attempt to, you know, win some points with Tucker. Right now we're back to the top of our order here with Thomas Kopinski of Poland. Thomas choosing to start from upstream, going to be looking for one of those entry moves to gain some points as he drops his way into the feature.
Yeah, Thomas, it's an amazing first ride, over 1,000 points.
Yeah, the standard is high.
It's really high, considering this feature is quite different to the one in Argentina. It's it can sometimes throw a bit of a curveball to the paddlers, but Tomasz here starting strong again. I say Tomasz won the World Cup last year, and the final event was here in Sort. He's no stranger to competition, and European and world competitions.
Not at all.
30 years of age.
Yeah, I think European champion, World Cup champion, Polish. I think this is 18 times Polish champion.
Yeah, completely.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
If he's 30 years old, that means that he's been the Polish champion since he was 12?
It's good maths, Anna. I think it could well be, you know. I think it could well be. With Bartosz.
We should confirm that fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him later. I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna ask him.
Very precocious 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, talented kayaker. Also a kayaker that spends a lot of his time coaching others. He actually has his own kayak school. His van is labeled Kaplinski.fun, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's good. Says nothing about kayaking, but you know, it's.
Yeah, but kayaking is fun, you know.
It is fun.
It works. Tomas also competing in the squirt boating event at this Worlds. He got his first ever mystery move. First time really competing in a squirt boat, and I think he was really excited about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him maybe starting to train a bit more in some other disciplines as well. Definitely an athlete to watch.
Yeah. Tomas, quite a diverse paddler. Wow, look at that. 953, 1,963.33. I think he could probably get off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
If he needs enough ride.
I think he's going to be looking to maybe get 2,000-point rides here to break that 2,000-point mark. You know, these quarterfinals, the preliminary rounds, definitely reward consistency amongst our athletes, and Tomas proving that he has that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just wants to keep it getting better. Oh, Rob Crow starting things off with a beautiful beautiful McNasty.
Yeah, all the men here really throwing down. I don't know if they're just fired up. The nerves don't seem to be getting to them. And they're just going in and wrecking off these really high-scoring moves time after time. Rob Crow being an example of that. It's a really nice lunar orbit.
That
absolutely
was
textbook.
absolutely textbook. Yeah, I hope I can maybe record that for my own personal learning later.
And also maybe that phonics monkey as well.
Definitely, definitely. Rob also very generous with advice and feedback to other paddlers.
Yeah.
And he has certainly taken the time. A lot of these paddlers now, I think, have gained massive progression from a lot of video feedback.
Yeah, most definitely.
I know Rob is one of those very analytical paddlers, watching footage of himself, looking to compare it to other paddlers in the world and try and break down what are they doing better, what can I do better to make sure I can make my way into the top 5. Is Rob missing the Eddie right now?
Not sure, yeah, he seems to be washing down. Does he know he has another ride? I don't know.
Yeah, but it is hard to count to 3.
It is hard to count to 3. So Rob, yeah, like Anna said, he's a tactician. He scrutinizes his rides using video feedback. And it looks like it's paying off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Rob also working full-time as a product design engineer, a bit of graphic design as well. So most of these athletes out here also have second lives or secret lives. I'm not sure which would be your secret life, your kayaking life or your real life work life.
To probably many colleagues, this is the secret life. You know, if you saw video footage of him, you know, when he's out of the office, what he does is his spare time to compete. They're probably thinking, "Wow, I didn't know this guy did this. It's crazy."
That's
he
definitely
just
true.
designed and wow, 940. Okay, an improvement on his first ride, 1,863 points.
I don't know about you, but I am constantly checking our ICF.live.com here for those live results just to see, as the scores update, where each person is sitting in this top 20 standings. So that puts Rob in second, right behind Tomas right now.
Yeah, that's it. So Thomas in first place, Rob in second. We have James Pringle Bevington in third. And from the first heat, Hunter Kadic making his way into fourth position. Anna Maud in fifth place so far.
Yeah.
So move on to...
So those are good places to be, because we've got Peter Trunka on the wave right now, looking to improve his first ride score, throwing trick after trick, going for a beautiful McNasty, maybe trying for a clean bonus. Going for the lunar orbit. Hard to see the angles from this aerial viewpoint here.
Yeah, I know Peter's first ride wasn't what he wanted.
Capable of.
Yeah, or what he's capable of at all. You know, we've seen Peter perform incredibly over the years, and you can definitely put down when it's needed, and he's showing us now that he can do that.
Going for that phonics monkey. Ooh, quick window shade. I did several of those earlier today. And that
very nice back loop.
Linking it right into some cartwheels, maybe into a tricky woo just after the buzzer. So again, if the athlete initiates that trick on the buzzer, I believe it still counts.
Yep.
But that is not for us to decide.
No.
I'm not sure what happens if you start linking multiple tricks together.
That's a good question, actually. Whether if you continue, so if you start before the buzzer and you're continuing to link, as long as they're scoring,
it should all count until that first pause or break there.
Yeah. So that was Peter Trunka, third paddler in this.
That should be a much stronger score than his first ride score.
We are really hot here in Salt. It's been a really hot week. Well, a few weeks, in fact.
I think a heat wave for most of Europe, actually.
Yeah. Okay, slightly cooler than France, seeing in the high 30s, low 40s. There's Peter there, traveling back up for his third ride. There's his dog Puko. I'm sure the dog on the left, is that a new addition to the Trunka family? I'm not sure, but
Maya, I think. Yeah.
Maya, is that theirs as well?
Yeah, both of them. Oh, a 953.3.
Okay, well, there you go. That's more like it.
That is more like it. If he can do that again, now we've got some solid competition here. I do think that this cut is going to be fiercely competitive.
Definitely. I mean, look at Dave McClaw's first ride, 1,156 points. I mean, he's looking to break the 2,000 point mark for sure.
I completely agree. He had some of those trophy moves in his first ride, and I'm hoping to see those again this time. A beautiful entry move right off the bat, not wasting any time. Going to a huge McNasty, trying for the clean bonus.
That's one of the biggest I've seen.
Is going for a lunar orbit. Oh no, flushing off the feature. This is where all of the non-freestyle training comes into play. The strong forward stroke propel you all the way forwards when you need it.
Yeah, that was a huge aerial McNasty there, looking for the blunt McNasty on this surface right shoulder. Okay, splitting it up. And this is Dave McClaw, who's already scored a huge ride in his first.
Trying for that lunar orbit, going for the phonics monkey.
Dave
Looking
from
for
Ireland.
Knowing that that lunar orbit maybe didn't feel quite as good as this last one. Not as strong a ride as his first one, but still should be a really...
There's his single supporter in the crowd. Oh, no, there we go.
they
There's
are.
the one.
These are the smart Irish hiding in the shade.
Yeah, that's it. So I want to see a replay of that aerial McNasty. There we go. Maybe that was at it. It's got to be clean as well.
Yeah, I think that was holding those paddles out of the water, trying to sell that to the judges. I always call that the look ma, no hands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to be to prove to the judges that you are going clean. Then you need to make sure your paddles are clear of the water, or not using your paddles. You can touch the water, but you cannot be using your paddles to help with the initiation or completion of the move. So,
John, do you feel that the moves in freestyle have evolved since you yourself were competing?
oh, most definitely. It's, I mean, just as I started to retire from freestyle, it was if you went one way, you say you did a McNasty or a phonics monkey, one way, that was enough. You didn't have to go both ways. So I'm pretty strong on my right, but on my left, it needs some training, and that's just because, but now you have to go both ways. It's scored both ways, whereas before it wasn't scored both ways. One way was fine.
Yeah, I think a big difference for me, too, is just seeing the evolution and how many more of these newer tricks are loop-based, right? Going for those aerial points, crowd-pleasing points as well, as opposed to some of the older style but more technical tricks of those cartwheels, split wheels, tricky oohs.
You see now Nick Troutman now just giving an example of those poppy tricks, and that's why the kayaks have got a lot shorter and fatter, more volume in them to just project the boat out the water. Pretty much everything finishes now in a loop out. So these McNasties, phonics monkeys.
Beautiful Space Godzilla.
Really nice example of Space Godzilla there.
One of the hardest tricks to score here, I think, in these worlds, because that is a trick with a very precise definition. Nick looking to go split to split, combining those tricks. Try and maximize his points and his time on this feature. Carving under the shoulder, setting up, looking for a phonics monkey.
It's difficult with the phonics, the pirouette has got to be over 45 degrees for at least 180 degrees off the rotation. So, when we describe a move with technical skill like that, it's difficult. And these we're seeing it in slow motion. I mean, the judges are seeing it in real time and have to score this thing.
Have to make that call just in that split second. I think I always joke, I wonder if they've got protractors up there. Spend their time measuring out the angles ahead of time, It's like you've got almost pick a marker. If their stern goes below this point, well, nope, that's out.
Yeah. And for for the Brits, that's protractor. It's the same thing, protractor and a protractor.
Did you get one of those in like your team kit? You get like a team uniform and a team protractor.
Yeah, and a pencil case.
Next up, World Championship mathletes.
Okay, 603.33, 1,503 points for Nick. He's going to have to put it down in his third ride.
But he is definitely capable. You can see Team Canada not knowing how they feel about that one there.
Okay, back to the top. Last ride for Tomasz Kaplinski. Already 1,963.33 points on the board for Tomasz Kaplinski. Just adjusting his helmet there before he paddles down. Okay, he's up for it. You can see he's fired up. Nice entry, McNasty.
Right into the McNasty, over the top, getting the air on that trick.
Yeah, McNasty both ways.
Ooh, I don't know how he managed to pull that together there. That just shows that level of experience and skill. When you know that your trick's not going quite as you plan it to and still managing to complete it, looking for a Space Godzilla, trying for a split wheel, into a phonics, maybe linking those two tricks together. Tomas also a master of playing with how the tricks can work together to maximize those points and trying to create these newer trophy moves. Looking for a split right into the phonics to the side. Again, somehow managing to just fling the boat over his head.
Yeah, Thomas currently sitting in second place behind the Irish Dave McClure.
Beautiful back loop.
Nice back loop, one of the only back loops I've seen that may score actually.
Yeah, let's see, Bartosz.
Unfortunately, didn't make it through. Missed the cut, didn't he, into the quarterfinals?
It was unfortunate for Bartosz, but in some ways our Gings, we've been benefiting from his announcing talents all week here. It's nice to see him offering support and some coaching to his fellow team members. It says here that Tomas actually started kayaking because he had an accident when he was 10 years old on a jet ski where he wasn't able to walk for the entire summer. So as a result, he began kayaking, and It sounds really unfortunate, but at the same time, maybe, I mean, clearly a life-changing incident for Tomas here that served him well in some ways.
So he couldn't walk, so he decided to kayak instead.
Yeah.
There we go. Why not?
Why not? You got to get your ice cream somehow.
Glass half full.
Yeah.
Right there. And now he's competing on the world stage. He could definitely podium for sure if it goes his way. Tomas happy there. He's definitely copying my beard, I think.
Yeah. You can see him trying to lift his hand up. He's like, up, up, up. I think that on the big screen here at the venue, you can actually see the judges deliberating the scores as they've been changing around. So he's watching it, trying to give him a little encouragement, but I think he's going to stick with that 1963, 1,963 points.
Which is currently seeing him still in second position. So we have Rob Crow up next from Great Britain, 1,863 points currently on the board. Rob Crow, very talented paddler, and he's been putting down some very consistent rides. Looking for the entry move. There we go. Nice.
Beautiful McNasty.
Clean McNasty maybe as well.
I think so, yeah. Going right, wasting no time into the other one. Oh, maybe spinning out of it as he looks to set up the lunar orbit. That has been a tricky move for a lot of people here on this feature. I think the speed of the water makes it difficult to bring the boat around properly.
Yeah, just demonstrating how difficult it is.
Oh, that one was good.
He went the other way and then completed it, so.
Most people having a strong side and a side that takes just a little bit longer to dial things in on.
Nice phonics monkey there for Rob, going into the tricky woo. Not sure about that.
You need to have that rotation on that third end, but maybe he'll get a back loop if not a tricky woo. So not a bad ride here for Rob Crow.
Yep.
Comfortably making the eddy on this ride.
That's it, yeah.
Such an explosive, dynamic paddler. I took a physics class when I was in high school, and I actually pretty much failed it. And it wasn't until later that I took a physics of sport class that I really started to understand just how impressive some of this stuff is and the science behind it. And a lot of these guys actually, studying that and just understanding how to use their leverage, counterweight their boats, counter-edge their kayaks to really maximize the amplitude.
Yeah, most definitely. And Rob is one of those guys that, we were saying earlier about video feedback, watches himself slow-mo, real-time and slow-mo, and just nitpicking and making sure that these angles are what's needed to get the scores on the board. It's 803 points. Consistent rides there, though, from Rob. If you look at that, 1,863.33. So he's going to keep the first two rides.
Rob currently sitting in third place.
It's a good spot to be in.
Good spot to be in.
We only have one heat to go after this. We have three more paddlers. Peter Chonka, Dave McClure, Nick Troutman in this heat, and then we have 5 more paddlers to go. But looking at those 5 in the last heat, that's pretty scary.
A former world champion, a current C1 world champion, and a junior world champion, a former C1 world champion,
and Gavin Barker.
And Gavin Barker.
From Great Britain, eh?
Yeah. Stacked heats all around here.
Yeah. Okay, the judges are just, okay, we have a kayak just washing through the feature, so...
oh, goodness.
Yeah, not sure if there's been a...
I hope that wasn't Peter Chonka's kayak.
A kayaker in it or not, I'm not sure. We're just Rob Crow there, the friendly Brit, always ready to help out.
Kayaking is a team sport, so as much as this is out, everyone's looking to perform their best as an individual. Great team support and camaraderie there as well. Beautiful river here in Sort, Spain. Amazing sections downstream, amazing section upstream that people have been able to enjoy all week long.
That's it, the Noguera Palaresa River. It's a mecca, really, of kayaking here. Real nice alpine-style river. It's beautiful blue water.
Oh, good, it wasn't Peter's kayak. I was a bit worried for a minute there.
Yeah, you're right, it's the same color, wasn't it? So it's okay, but here we go, Peter.
Looking for a blunt McNasty to start things off. Maybe trying for a tricky woo. Backing it up, looking for the McNasty, trying to utilize landing backwards and then trying for that lunar orbit. He wants this. He wants to be in that top 10 as he goes for that back loop with air, spinning it around. He is just not stopping, setting up for another lunar orbit the other direction. Maybe a loop or a space Godzilla. You'll see that these athletes are really talented at moving around the feature, knowing exactly where they want to throw each trick. working to fight his way back upstream. 5 seconds on the clock, trying for the phonics, and unfortunately...
Wow, he caught his paddle on the bottom of the river. Was it his bottom of the river or is his kayak or what? I don't know, but what happened
makes
there.
you cringe for a second, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know, those carbon paddles, there's no flex in them things whatsoever, you know. It can...
No, you saw Rob Crow actually let go of his paddle in one of his preliminary round rides.
Yeah, you can injure yourself quite easily if the paddle gets caught anywhere.
Is that a gear malfunction, a wardrobe malfunction?
Wardrobe.
Yeah, definitely wardrobe. But yeah, Peter, very strong ride from Peter here, showing off that back loop, turning it around, wasting no time at all.
So where's Peter currently sitting at the moment?
Let's check in with our live updates here. Peter currently in 14th place with a 13.73.
Okay, so he'll have to improve by quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, but again, 3 rides, 2 count.
Yeah, okay, good, solid, that's better. 818.33, so they'll use his second and third ride, so combined 1,776.
One. Yeah, math.
There we go.
That will put him in 4th position, just
place.
above of James Pringle Bebbington.
Okay, so putting it down on Peter's third ride as we have Dave McClure.
Currently topping the leaderboard.
Yeah, topping the leaderboard. Awesome from Dave, the Irishman, as he makes his way down to the feature for his third and final ride in the quarterfinals. Dave.
Ooh, not starting off with the best McNasty I've ever seen him do. But he knows how to fix that. Going for another McNasty, getting the air on it. 3 rides. This is a tiring round, and you can see it starting to show the heat, the pressure, the stress of the week here. Dave going for that phonics monkey the other direction, dropping his stern, just deciding not to follow through in that move. He knows that he is likely in already, and he's just going to wave that off, save the energy for the semifinals.
Yeah, he's already through, so that was a bit of a glory ride there, but
yeah. I don't know if you were watching earlier in the week when we had our C1 finals, but Dane Jackson actually had a ride where he looked human. He popped out of the feature quite a few times, and then he actually made his way all the way back up where most other athletes would have waved it off just to get one more trick on the board because it was fun.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
You never really know what these athletes are going to decide to do with their time here, no matter their standings.
Yeah.
Dave probably knowing that he's not going to better his ride score from his first 2 runs, choosing wisely, conserving energy.
And that's the beauty of having these results up, so you can see where you currently are, and it helps add to the tactics.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not the athletes in the later heats gain a massive advantage over that, knowing what the score to beat is, what they need to do to make it into the next round.
Yeah, it's...
In some ways, I think it puts more pressure on you. You know, everyone's calculating in their head, all right, I just need a loop, 2 McNasties, a phonics monkey, a lunar orbit, tricky wheel. Oh God, I forgot where I was. What did I need again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not easy. Yeah, you have to also have to be very good at maths in this game, not just kayaking. As we see Nick Troutman heading down for his third and final ride in the quarterfinals here. Nick
from Canada going for that McNasty. McNasty the other direction. Surfing around, looking for one of those nice Space Godzillas, maybe a loop. Nick been working to try and link some of those loop moves together. Maybe we'll get to see that later on this ride. Going for a loop again, keeping it conservative. Points on the board. Oh no, an unfortunate flush.
It's a shame. There's Canadian supporters there. Nick, he has still some time on the clock. Nick Troutman from Canada looking to initiate a phonics monkey just before the buzzer. He has time for one more trick as he goes for the orbit, pulling it around into a back loop. Well, it was rushed, but
way to make the most of 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That still very, very strong rides from Nick Troutman here. As long as he is in a top 5 position, he will be safely through to the semifinals.
It's great to see the Canadians out in support for their fellow countrymen.
Yeah, Nick also doing a lot of coaching, and a lot of the kids that he's worked with over the years from the U.S., from Canada here cheering him on. He actually did a junior development camp as well this year, trying to work and help bring up the skill level of these young juniors, giving them competition advice, mindset advice, paddling advice, just really looking to kind of give back.
Yeah, it's great. It's good to see these guys and girls doing that, supporting the younger generation coming through. Nick Troutman, 5.76.
So Nick is
sticking with his previous ride score, I think. So where's that?
I think that unfortunately keeps him in 13th or 14th place.
Okay, so maybe Bubble Boy will...
I believe it's only the top 10 that make it through.
Of course it is. Oh, sorry. No, my bad. You're right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that is just the results from this particular heat, not the overall standings. Again, to see those overall live standings, go to icf-live.com. This may unfortunately have been one of those events where wife Emily beat Nick, at least in placing, if not in scores.
Yeah.
But what just a very, very strong, positive paddling couple to have out there on the water. I think we're going to head over towards the mic zone for an interview.
All the way from Canada. And, well, Nick, how does it feel to compete here in Seoul at this brand new Freestyle stadium?
It's super cool. The venue's awesome. The town's awesome. Everybody's super friendly. And, yeah, just been loving the whole thing.
And what do you think about that feature that we have?
I actually really like the feature a lot. You can do some wave moves. You can do some hole moves. And yeah, it's just really fun.
All right, thank you, Nick. Great performance today. And we're moving on for the next hit.
Cheers.
And we are back here. We've got one more heat to go of the men's quarterfinals of the 2019 Canoe Freestyle World Championships here in Sort, Spain. I'm Anna Bruno. I'm joined by John Best, if you've just been tuning in. In this heat, our last heat of the quarterfinals, we've got the current world champion, Kim Fontenay-Massa, will be first up, followed by current junior world champion and now C1 world champion Tom Dolet of France, Seb Devred, a former world champion himself, Gav Barker of the UK, and Dane Jackson, our current reigning silver medalist for the Worlds.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting heat, you know, and it's quite scary probably if you're, you know, if you're sitting around the sort of 5th, 6th mark at the moment. We've got these guys up and coming, you know.
I think almost every single one of these guys scored over 1900 combined in the preliminary round, so the pressure is on. Keem starting things off strong with an entry move, going for that blunt McNasty, really showing off his explosive, dynamic styles. He goes from the McNasty the other direction, straight into the lunar orbit, spinning it around.
Keem's such an explosive paddler, you know. Current world champion, to be looking to retain his title for sure.
Especially in his home country of Spain.
That's it, nice orbit.
Looking maybe for the split to lunar. Maybe a little bit low on those split ends. Again, the stamina required to put together rides like this. Oh, going for the back loop to the McNasty, those beautiful trophy moves. Right on the shoulder, the flushiest part of the wave.
He's still going. I mean, I don't know what, you know, there's no stopping the man.
No stopping him.
Unbelievable. Look at the passion on his face.
There's the fire. There's the face that Keem makes when he knows he's stoked with that ride.
Incredible ride. You know, you look at a ride like that, you just think to yourself, okay, he's thinking, all right, I need to get through prelims, quarters, semis, get into the final, and then throw it down.
At what point do you think that you've actually got a ride planned for these athletes in their head, or they just go with the flow, let instinct take over, and they're like, oh, well, going with the back loop McNasty?
Yeah, I think maybe he did his run plan and then still had time, so he decided to just throw some more moves. Why not?
Why not? It's really, really awesome to see some of these link bonuses or these trophy moves coming into play here. A lot of the progression in the sport, in my opinion, these past few years has been seeing the number of paddlers getting creative in terms of combining those tricks.
Most definitely, you know, and Kim is a master at that.
Yeah, if you actually Google him, he's got a great video of a lot of these trophy moves from Nottingham, from the inlet gate that he submitted to the judges to help them score here in this competition.
Yeah, most definitely. Kim there, he knows that's a big score.
Yeah, Sister Nuria up here commenting in Catalan on the Catalan live stream. I know she's excited about that ride.
All right, Kim, good job.
Okay, I think, okay, 1,571 points in one ride.
Oh my goodness. That is a solid score to lay down. In our preliminary round, only Dane Jackson breaking that 1,200 point mark. So that puts the pressure on.
That's massive. Up next, Tom Delay. How do you follow that.
If anyone can, I think it's young Tom here, fueled by baguettes, cheese, and ham, hailing from Lyon, only 18 years old.
Yeah, just coming up from juniors, isn't he? He's current junior world champion.
And already a gold medalist here at this 2019 World Championships in Sort. He wants more.
Really nice entry move from Tom. Nice McNasty. Choosing to go with the plastic kayak. He throws this boat round so well.
Yeah, he really does. Tom is just a paddler that has been a pleasure to watch progress and grow and develop over the last few years, not only in freestyle and the whole boating style that we see here, but also creeking, river running, big wave surfing. He is a very, very talented, multi-discipline athlete, and just, ooh, there was a little bit of bobble there, still human. But I think to be 18 years old in your first senior event and really putting the pressure on the rest of the men in the class.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, going through in top 5, you know, I mean, that's amazing. And you're just spending the whole 45 seconds in the feature, you know, Tricky Woo just to, I know Space got to the, you know, the last 5 seconds just for good measure.
Tom spent a bunch of time on his Instagram recently, hanging out with friends, Kaylin Friedenson or also Hayden Voorhees in the US, and just saying, hey, I'm here at this spot, message me on Instagram and let me know what trick combinations you'd like to see. And then just going out and doing them and filming them on the spot. So a lot of practice at just putting those moves together. Look at that, cleaning up the loop. Was that the McNasty?
Yeah, he's a very talented paddler at the age of only 18. He's got a long, successful career ahead of him, I'm sure.
Yeah, recently won the Macanito contest, beating out Seb Devred.
Yep.
So really, oh, look at that, holding the paddles up, pinkies up.
Pinkies up.
Clean bonus. He's like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
I keep trying to convince Tom to be my stunt double.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but he hasn't said yes yet.
Still time.
Still time. Yeah, I have to get him quick, though, before he grows too much taller.
Yeah.
I was like, don't worry, Tom, I'll cut off my ponytail. You just have to do one good McNasty and one bad McNasty, okay? There has to be a bad McNasty to make it believable.
Okay, 1,106 points for Tom's first ride.
All right, France really coming out with a very, very strong team this year. Seb Devred, Tom's team member, coming up right here. Former, I believe, silver medalist in both C1 and K1 at the Argentina World Championships.
Yep, Seb Devred, a very stylish French paddler. He's been competing for a number of years now. Very experienced.
Trademark boat.
Yeah, really nice, clean McNasty there. Another.
McNasty the other direction. Maybe he'll probably want to redo that one at some point, but in the meantime, he's going to go for that tricky woo. Beautiful rotation on that third end there as he goes right into some clean cartwheels, into a split wheel, going for the lunar orbit off of that split. Wow.
Bit of an unlucky flush there, Anna.
It is indeed. Again, Seb, one of those really powerful, explosive paddlers that flirts with that bubble line. It's easy to lose track of where you are in the feature when you're throwing end over end like that. Looking for the tricky woo. Somehow brings the boat around to vertical again. Cartwheels in the other direction.
Yeah, an unlucky flush halfway through his ride, but he got back in the feature and he pulled some more tricks for sure.
Safe to say that's at least an 800-point ride, I would imagine, even with a flush.
Even with a flush, yeah. These guys have 3 rides, and their top 2 scoring rides will combine to give them an overall.
Beautiful, huge, clean air loop. And then look at the split wheel, keeping his eyes upstream as he goes to just set up for that next trick right away. Not even a moment of pause there. I know U.S. coach Clay Wright actually invented the loop. I wonder what it's like for him now to just see all of these athletes just executing it to perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's showing Clay's age, isn't it? Inventing
Well, maybe a bit, yeah. But I think also just, you know, that it's how incredible that he's still out here competing. Our current world champion in the squirt boat, you know, just...
You're right. Around the 800-point mark, 876 points. So can do better than that. He'll need to do better than that.
He will need to do better than that. But right now, Gav Barker, the only non-world champion, I believe, are in this heat. But Gav really making a name for himself on the freestyle kayaking scene these last few years. Living in Nottingham, spending a lot of time at the inlet gate. Very, very dynamic, explosive paddler. Yeah. Here he goes, starting things off with an entry move. Looking for a McNasty.
Gav at the age of 36, showing that age is no barrier.
Definitely not. Going for a lunar orbit. Again, Gav just very tactical, very precise with his paddling. Going for the phonics monkey. Maybe the air loop. Oh, how did he manage to pull that off? Forward paddle, Gav, stick it. Come on, retain the feature. Yes. You notice his boat is actually designed after the wings of a monarch butterfly. He tries for that lunar orbit. I believe is for that.
A few more seconds on the buzzer, going for that phonics
monkey. Textbook phonics monkey.
Going for a back loop.
Really, oh, you could just see his bow catching the bottom there.
Yep. First ride from Gav.
Gav catching his breath there. I think he's going to be wanting to improve on that score, but that was a nice, safe first ride for Gav.
Yep.
I would say almost a conservative ride.
Quite conservative for Gav, yeah, most definitely. He can do better. He can do better than that. Again, lives in Nottingham. He's from Manchester, but lives in Nottingham. Trains at Home Pierpont on the inlet gate.
Works for the YMCA, introducing youth and at-risk youth to the outdoors, rock climbing, mountain biking, hiking, climbing, kayaking. One of those other ones with a day job. But
yeah, Gav, he balances his work and his training quite well. And 1,036 points for Gav. Good, solid first ride for Gav Barker from the UK.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So, does this guy need introducing?
He might.
USA.
He might, yeah.
Mr. Dane Jackson.
Dane Oliver Jackson.
Dane Oliver Jackson.
The Dane O. Current silver medalist from the 2015 World Championships. I can see one of the parents of our U.S. team members cheering him on there. Dane, beautiful entry move. Right into the McNasty. Huge clean air.
Huge clean McNasty there.
Beautiful McNasty the other direction, right into the lunar orbit, trying to cartwheel out of it, going into the, maybe a tricky wheel or just a back loop. Dane actually was our first paddler on the water in those preliminary rounds. Oh goodness, that was, looks like he got caught up on the phonics, but still managed to maintain that feature.
Oh, just do it again.
Oh, that's, yeah, no big deal. I've got that trick on dial. Beautiful lunar orbit, cartwheeling out of it, looking to maybe split out of it, split to split, to tricky woo.
Very high scoring ride here on Dane Jackson.
You know, Dane on his first ride, he said he was the first paddler to go in the preliminary round. He said his goals were to go slow enough that the judges saw exactly what he was doing so he could go faster in the next rounds, make them work a little harder. And it looks like he's been trying to make them do that.
Most definitely. It almost looked there. He had 5 seconds to go, and he looked up at the clock and thought, I think I've run out of tricks.
Yeah, not Dane. Maybe he just lost track of where he was.
Yeah.
That beautiful, huge, clean air loop. Trying for the lunar orbit. Trying to, again, lunar orbit there. Trying to keep the one paddle blade clear of the water.
Yep. Dane, not only an incredible freestyle paddler, but also creek boater. Big waterfalls, extreme races.
Yeah, a lot of 100-foot waterfalls. I believe he ran 5 or 6 waterfalls over 70 feet in 1 week this past spring. So yeah, maybe one of, if not the most, I think, talented athlete in whitewater kayaking just across the board out there in the game right now. Dane, part of a little collective called Send. You can see the sticker on his back there along with several of his friends. Unfortunately, they abandoned him to go run grade 5 whitewater and waterfalls, leaving him to pursue freestyle on his own.
That's it. You go and do that for us, Dane. We'll just carry on hucking off big waterfalls. We'll be waiting out here for you once you return.
I know he's going to be stoked to rejoin them after this, but yeah. He's just waiting for his score. What do you think? Is it going to top the 1,500 of Keams? Is it going to come close?
Close. 1,441.67. These guys seem like just playing at this, aren't they?
Honestly, it's look, 2 bobbles, wasn't even trying that hard, 1,400 points.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, that's cool.
That's cool, that's fine. Okay, back to the top. And Kim has the thumbs up from Paul Shepard, head judge.
Local hero here.
Yeah. Kim Fontenay Masso, he's incredible first ride. Is just
absolutely spectacular. Yeah, you can see, I believe his boat has a nickname Mushu for the dragon that is about to be unleashed here. Entry move 1 right into the blunt to the McNasty, that powerful, explosive dynamic style on display yet again with the McNasty the other direction, maybe huge air into the lunar orbit. As he spins it around, catches his breath for a second. Going for a beautiful front loop. Trying for the tricky woo. Lunar orbit the other direction into that front loop.
Incredible.
That is one of those trophy moves there. Kim just showing why he's the world champion and why he wants to be the world champion again.
Kim looking for that tricky woo in the final seconds of his ride. Not quite getting it, we think. But I think he got enough other tricks in that ride to secure himself a place in the final.
Yeah, these guys are making the judges earn their keep today.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
You know,
so hard to keep up, and we're not even judging it, really. We just...
But it's true, and you know, and there's a very specific way, actually, the judges even need to communicate these moves so that the person who's actually recording them, their scribe, can keep track of them properly. So you notice there's usually a bit of a delay here as the judges actually have to go back, look over, check with their scribes what exactly the scribe has written down. I think for me, judging, the hardest part is actually keeping track of my rights and lefts.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, these guys get scored in both directions, so the same trick gets scored twice as long as it's done in the opposite direction.
Oh, look at that, just a quick little paddle twirl there.
Yeah. Okay, that was Kim's second ride, third ride?
Kim's second ride.
Okay.
Second. He was our first paddler here in this final heat of the men's quarterfinals.
That's it.
3 rides, 2 count.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Kim broke into the top 10 with that 1 ride alone. So there's nowhere to go but up because I'm pretty sure he scored at least up.
There we go. Another one, a 1,290, slightly less than his first, leaving with 2,861 points on the board.
That puts him almost 1,000 points ahead of the leader up until that point, David McClure. So pressure is on.
Pressure's on. Okay, next up, Tom Delay from France. 1,106 points on the board for his first ride.
The flying Frenchie.
Yep, young Tom dropping down into the feature.
Tom, one of these kids that actually just grew up at Whitewater Park, Saint-Pierre-du-Boeuf, just outside of Lyon, France. I think he just would spend pretty much his entire summers there paddling with some French athletes like Seb and as well as Mathieu Dumoulin, and just a really, really strong kayaking community in France that I think Tom has had the privilege of getting to benefit from and be a part of. Look at that beautiful clean loop, going for a lunar orbit. Tom also watching a lot of video footage of some of his kayaking heroes to try and emulate their style, and I think best them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you look at the leaderboard there, so Kim in front, almost 1,000 points clear of second place, Dave McClure. Some delay, a few more seconds on the clock as we hear the 10-second buzzer throwing a tricky woo on the surface right, going for Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla the other way.
Very, very solid use of those last 2 seconds there.
Most definitely. So in about 8 seconds, he got tricky woo and Space Godzilla both ways. It looked like to me.
Yes,
yeah.
I think many of these top men here could actually, I think you could give them about 15 seconds and they could probably best the scores of, you know, 50% of the rest of the athletes out here, 80% of the athletes out here. It's almost unfair, but you know, it's a lot of hard work, time, and dedication that's gone into that.
Oh, most definitely. There's a nice, clean aerial front loop there. You can see Tom just making sure his paddles are clear of the water. If you just watch, he won't be using his paddles at all to make sure he pulls that loop through.
You know, one of the British coaches, Dan Newton, did I believe it was a master's degree in sports science, and he actually did this experiment where he placed, there's Tom's score, 986.67. So solidly moving him into second place, but I think he'll be looking to improve on that. But yes, as I was saying, Dan actually did this experiment looking at how to best loop. So like putting those little motion trackers on you that you see. So you'll have to chat with him at some point to find out his results. But yeah, really, really cool project.
It's cool to see the science going into freestyle kayaking, isn't it? Really?
It really is. Seb Devra dropping in from above. Beautiful entry McNasty to start things off. Going right into the McNasty, huge air, clean possibly, oh definitely clean, maybe huge. McNasty the other direction, not wasting time, trying for a split wheel, looking for that lunar orbit. This is one of Seb's, I think, favorite combinations of tricks to do. You'll notice he has this pattern of trying for that split, going right into lunar afterwards, usually followed by a tricky woo.
A lucky flush from Seb halfway through his ride.
Told you he'd be looking for that tricky woo next.
Yeah, there it is. Are you communicating to him somehow?
Yeah, I do speak French, so it's totally possible. I'm actually, I mean, Seb could be a cyborg. He is such a consistent technical pattern.
He is, yeah.
I was joking with Dane and Tom earlier this week that I actually wanted to put like motion trackers on their bodies that I could wire to my brain so I could understand how their bodies are doing those movement patterns. And I think maybe Seb is already,
yeah, he's
already got that dialed in. But yeah, wouldn't that be cool though if you could actually like inhabit for a moment like the motion patterns to understand what's going on and how these tricks work?
Yeah, most definitely. I think a lot of paddlers would like to get an insight into how these tricks are performed and completed to such a style and standard.
You know, there's that fallacy that it needs to be only strength, but there's a lot of technique, a lot of timing, and a lot of waiting.
Yeah. I think that strength, you know, it's interesting. Features like this that are quite powerful. You do need strength, but I think predominantly still it's technique. You know, I think. Okay, here we go. Seb de Vred
breaking that 1,000-point mark.
Yeah, 1,887 points on the board. Up next.
So with each of their second rides here, you're going to see our leaderboard changing. I'm almost sure of it.
Yeah. As we see, eyes upstream from Great Britain, Gav Barker, good friend of mine, scoring 1,036 points in his first ride as he paddles out down towards the feature to start his ride with a nice entry move.
Gav, a distinctive paddling style, also a distinct helmet.
Yeah, Gav likes to be a bit unconventional in his helmet style as he pulls around a real nice McNasty to start things off. McNasty the other way, not quite getting the air that we're used to seeing from Gav, going through the orbit.
But that was a beautiful little
really
orbit.
Nice orbit there.
Cartwheeling out of it. Surfing out to that shoulder, trying to set up, getting to the top of the wave, looking for that Phonics monkey. That was spectacular. As he's coming around here. Again, carving, looking for that perfect setup, going for one of those big Space Godzillas.
Space Godzilla there for Gaviat, looking for an orbit the other way. Not quite getting the rotation there on that bow.
Maybe kind of pulling out of that trick just a little bit early. Going for one of those, oh, that was a Space Godzilla. We'll see if that's going to count before he gets that little bit of a face surf there. But still, Gav, you can see just, I think the toll this week and the heat and everything is taking on these paddlers.
Most definitely, you know, we've seen better rides from Gav for sure. I mean, even that said, he scored over 1,000 points in his first ride. We'll have to wait and see what this second ride scores him. He has one more ride to go, you know. He's in a field of very, very experienced freestyle kayakers. Gav's been working tirelessly towards this World Championships.
Yeah, also spending some time, I believe, creek boating in Chile last year. And I asked him, I was like, how is it that you managed to maintain a passion for kayaking all year round? He's like, well, it's a good thing about kayaking is that you get to mix it up. It's not all training all the time.
Yeah.
You get to get out as soon as rivers are running, as soon as it rains in England, get to go and do some exploring, do some creeking, and just, I think, keep the hype. Because it's hard, this World Championship happens, what, once every 2 years?
Yep. There's
a long time in between, and it's hard for anyone to maintain a focus.
Yep. Okay, 533 for Gav's second ride. Not as good as his first. They use 1,500 points plus on the board.
Yeah, so right now at the bottom of our top 10 is Alan Ward of the UK with a 1731. So that's going to be the very minimum score needed to break into that top 10.
Okay, up next, Mr. Dane Jackson from US of A. Incredible first ride from Dane, looking to repeat that. Nice entry move from Dane. Throwing McNasty out of nowhere, catching an edge. But wastes no time, he's setting himself up, going McNasty the other way. Into an orbit, into some cartwheels.
Dane consistently just getting the stern so high in elevation on those orbits as he tries for a tricky woo and unfortunately goes for a bit of a bobble there. He's smiling, he's laughing, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay, there's the tricky woo into cartwheels, into a Phonics monkey.
Look at the extension on it as he stands up to wait for that boat to come with him on the loop there, looking for a lunar orbit into another cartwheel and into the tricky woo the other direction. Still 6 seconds left. What's he going to go for? A nice big loop. 2 seconds left. And the Phonics monkey on the buzzer, unfortunately just flushing off the wave. You can see those arrows on the bottom of his boat there. I believe they're actually the Norse sign for victory, or victory in combat. His mom was telling me that she gave his dad Eric one of those, a necklace with that symbol on it, and then he won the next 10 or 15 competitions immediately afterwards. And that Dane has since stolen that symbol.
There we are, just have a look at slow-mo. Some clips there of Dane's second ride. Incredibly stylish paddler and strong, and like Anna said earlier, probably, you know, one of the best all-round kayakers in the world, and has been for some time as well. If you don't already follow him on Instagram, you probably should do. You'll see some incredible kayaking from Dane Jackson.
I actually got sent a post of Dane running a waterfall in the Pacific Northwest this year from one of my family members going, "Is this what you do?" I was like, "Yes, kind of."
Kind of, yeah.
But I do know that guy.
Okay, 1,120 points. That's 2,561 points on the board.
That's going to place him in second place right now behind Kim
place.
Fontenay Masso.
That's it. So, talking about Kim, we're going to back up to the top of the order.
I don't know what he's pointing to. I believe it's his number 1 there on his bib, maybe. Or, oh, no, I believe that was the Catalans. You see the yellow ribbon, excuse me, for a free Catalonia.
Yeah, so he's pointing to that, but also he's sporting that purple or pink bib, which indicates that he's a current world champion.
He will, yeah. Actually, the 001 on there, indicating that he is the current men's kayaking world champion. And Kim looking to show us why. He's going to start things off with that blunt McNasty. Going for the McNasty the other direction. There it is.
Wow.
That was huge.
Not sure what happened there.
I think he actually went too big.
Yeah, I think he went too big. It's possible to go too big, so he's going to just wave to the crowd there as he paddles down. He's not going to bother, I don't think, trying to get back up. He's already done enough.
That was a bit of a pout for a minute there. We used to call that a snip fit or the unhappy baby, but, you know, I don't think he's got much to be unhappy about.
He shouldn't have much to be unhappy about. You know, if I put down 2 rides like he had previously, I'd be pretty chuffed.
Yeah, yeah, life goals.
Yeah. So
hopefully his boat is all right after that, and so are his ankles. That looked like it could have hurt.
It's really just elevated so high out of the water, a bit too high probably.
Yeah, Kim, despite being from Spain, I believe his hometown feature is, oh, there you can see it coming down on the edge
like
and just...
aerial
oh,
McNasty Godzilla thing.
Yeah, maybe a new trophy move.
Yeah.
Oh, still scoring 261 points. Thanks, Kim. Even with that ride, you beat my personal best score in an ICF competition. Leaving me something to work towards in the future.
Not jealous at all.
No. Just honestly not though. Just respect.
Exactly. You know, and that's the nice thing about this particular sport. You know, that respect for each other is very present, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, in the squirt boat final earlier this week, you could just see all, and in the C1 final as well, you could just see all the athletes wanting to see the bar raised, to have each of their fellow competitors do their personal best. And that's something that is really cool about the format and the way that these events unfold here. Tom looking for the McNasty.
Young Frenchman just currently in 3rd position, I believe.
He is currently in the 3rd position. So at this point, he knows he's safe. He knows he's through.
Yeah. So
this is where you either try the tricks that you're not that good at and you want practice on, or you go for the trophy moves. Let's see what he's got for us. Space Godzilla to the loop, linking it up. Space loop. Yes, Tom. Trying for a back loop, probably do a back loop McNasty. Oh, the back loop to front loop combo. Tom just having fun.
Yeah. He already made it through to the semi-finals, so he's just playing around there and a bit of showboating, which is good to see. It's always fun to see these guys enjoying themselves and not just competing, but also showing off to the crowd, which is...
Yeah, genuine love of the sport from all of these top paddlers, I think, out there. Just that desire to improve, desire to get better, and just have fun.
Most definitely, if you guys are watching at home and are inspired by this, you know, go online, have a look, see if you can find your local canoe club. And
here in Sort, Spain, there's actually Kayak Sort, whose owner Oriol helped design this feature.
Yeah.
He's been taking people out on the water all week. We actually took my aunt out in a topo duo. Really great way to get your first taste of whitewater is going with someone else that's more experienced guiding your kayak in the back. Unless that person doesn't actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, 523.33 points there for Tom Delay from France. So a total of 200 2,093. So the heat's getting to me. It's been a long day.
So right now, Seb Devred is also already in our top 10 with a score of 1886.67. So he's either going to be looking to just up that score, up his placing, or also just have some fun.
Yep. Seb.
Beautiful.
When the pressure's off, sometimes you see these guys, you know, they can just paddle for fun. And
yeah, 2 huge clean McNasties.
Seb's using this as a training ride for the finals, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
Semi-finals.
Looking for that tricky woo. Spinning it around, tricky woo. He knows that one first one wasn't good enough. I think he might actually want the tricky loop there. But he's just having fun with it. There it is, split wheeling. Looking for the split wheel the other direction, going into the lunar orbit. Spinning it around. Even though he knows he's through, he's not wasting time, wants to get these tricks out on the board, backing it up. He's probably looking to break that single ride 1,000-point mark yet again. He doesn't even look like he was trying on that ride.
No, but the move was still working for him.
So right now, we have up next Gav Barker, the only paddler left to go today that is capable of changing up this top 10 order. So our current bubble boy is Hunter Kadich of USA with a 1736.6. Gav currently with a 1,500 something, I believe.
Yep.
He's going to need to have at least a 650-point ride.
He is.
To break into this top 10.
Yeah, Gav is going to have to put it all on the line out here in Sword.
Gav putting down I believe two 900- or 800-point rides yesterday, so we know he's capable of this 900-point ride on his first ride. Actually, excuse me, a 1,000-point ride on his first ride. So, all right.
Just waiting. Have we had the results from Seb's ride?
No, I believe it's just about to.
Still waiting for them. So Gav is waiting patiently. See if I can catch Gav's attention.
Do you think which way? Oh, 1,000, another 1,000-point ride. Yeah.
Really consistent there.
Really nice rides from Seb. Is that going to knock out the young Frenchie from 3rd place? No, it's not.
No. Tom DeLay still up there in 3rd place. Just come up from juniors and holding to 3rd place spot in the men's.
Literally looking to make a name for himself there. All right, here we go. Gav, do you think this is the moment of the most stress or pressure, or is it waiting for your score? It's hard to say.
Oh, yeah, it's difficult. I think for me, it was always waiting for the head judge to give you the thumbs up. You know, all these thoughts running through your head, you've got to try and stay composed. And Gav has a thumbs up as he heads down. It's all or nothing now, Gav, as he doesn't quite get the entry move that he wanted. So he starts his ride. Nice McNasty. Okay, we're going to have to go the other way. Gav, you're going to have to pull it out the bag now.
This is when the pressure is really on. You know, you don't get the perfect start to your ride, and yet you've still got to go and put it all on the line.
Yep.
Gav is definitely capable of making that happen. Going for the
do that.
Phonics Monkey,
Here
that
we go.
was huge.
Getting into the rhythm now for Gav Barker. He still has plenty of time on the clock, throwing a really big
loop or space.
Go to the left to see the judges score that one. One of those would have scored for sure.
Going for the lunar orbit. Kind of cartwheel out of it.
Yeah, this is a good, solid 3rd ride from Gav Barker with a few more seconds. He's going to be looking
for one of those bigger tricks again. That another Phonics Monkey.
On the buzzer. Okay.
So Gav with a lot of big trips, a lot of loop tricks, a lot of huge potential bonuses on those tricks, and those bonuses can really add up. He looks like pleased with that.
Yeah, he's pleased with that.
That should be enough to put him through.
We'll have to wait and see.
He needed more than a 700, I believe, more than a 600 to really be comfortably in that final.
So at this point, I think actually waiting for the score is the most nervous.
I agree.
Beforehand, pretty bad, but now he's put down this sort of ride. Now waiting to see what it is.
And you know who else is in that tense position is Hunter Kadich of the USA, sitting in that bubble position, knowing that did Gav knock him out?
Yeah, he's going to be watching, waiting.
Just, I think the level of athleticism and just the level of talent amongst all of these men here in our quarterfinal round, just really impressive.
So 1,736 points. Hunter Kadich is in 10th position.
Currently waiting for Gav Barker's final score to come through here. Gav looking to earn himself a place in that top 10 to move on to the semi-final tomorrow.
Okay.
You can feel the tension in the air here.
He had a pretty good second ride, I think. A third ride, sorry. Oh, yeah. 1,940 points for Cav Barker. Pulled it out at the end there.
He's done it. That has got to feel good.
Yeah. He's smiling there. You know, you can see that he's absolutely stoked to make it through.
But let's not forget here that we still have one more paddler.
We do still have one more paddler who is already through. But let's see what Dane Jackson is going to do, because he could
knock Keem off of that first place position to earn the right of going last in the semifinals.
Yep.
Dane, beautiful entry move, starting things off right into the McNasty. Probably looking to huge clean out of that every time. Unbelievable leak. Unbelievable consistency from Dane Jackson.
That was too big.
Too big.
Yeah, too big. Okay.
Big. Stop showing off, Dane.
Yeah. He's come down with snow on his boat.
Yeah, no, Dane, seriously. Dane, again, one of the nicest people out there, I think. Also, always willing to help someone out. I think it really, people maybe don't realize that or don't know that. Dane also suffering from significant hearing loss.
Yeah.
I've heard a number of people be like, man, that guy's a jerk. And I'm like, oh, did you talk to him when his back was turned? Because he really can't hear you.
Yeah, he just can't hear you. That's it. He does a lot of lip reading, actually.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
But he's so humble as well. You never really hear him talk about himself too much, which is impressive for a paddler that's achieved so much.
Yeah, look at him. He's just having fun out there.
Yeah.
He's just playing around.
I think he's got a bit of his, a lot of his dad in him there when it comes to the sort of humbleness and... Not so sure, Anna, there.
And luckily, Dane doesn't also sport the Speedo every Thursday.
That's it. No, that would be
We're all grateful for that, yeah. No, again, just the caliber of athletes here in this men's quarterfinal K1 class at the 2019 ICF Canoe Freestyle World Championships here in Sort, Spain. Right now, I believe going through to the semifinal round here, you should see that finals list popping up on our screen very shortly. The order will not be changing. It'll be Pringle, James Bebbington from Great Britain, Peter Chonka from the UK, Robert Crow of the UK, Gav Barker of the UK. There's a trend here. Do you notice that?
Yeah, it's great.
Thomas Papitsky of Poland, David McClure of Ireland, Seb Devred of France, Tom Dolay from France, Dane Jackson, USA, and Kim Ponce Masso from Spain. Those are going to be our top 5.
Yeah, that's going to be a really exciting semi-finals. I know, I'm really, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, in the semifinals, again, it's 2 rides, only 1 counts.
Yep.
Each of those athletes capable of putting down 900 to 1,000 points on the board or more.
Look at that. 3 Brits. It's good to see.
And the local hero, Kim Ponce Masso, current world champion, still retaining that spot on the top of the leaderboard. And unfortunately, just missing the cut, Hunter Kadich of the USA, Alan Ward, Great Britain, Bennett Smith, USA. And I think we're going to go for an interview.
All right, thank you, Anna. Here with the current world champion and the current leader for quarterfinals. How does it feel to be in the lead, and what was it done for the next rounds?
Well, of course, it busts a little bit your self-confidence, because it's such a difficult feature. You can have a sick ride and then follow up with a not so sick one, or even like a direct flash or something. So of course, like crushing it on the first ride was a big boost in my morale.
All right, could you explain for our viewers what happened in the third ride?
I don't know, like one of these times where I kind of lost myself into the ride, to be fair. Because suddenly I was like, oh, that's not the trick I was supposed to do at that moment. And then I just kept going, and one thing flew into the other, and I just get in kind of a state of flow, and everything seems to work. So interesting. I hope that I could know how to do that in purpose.
Hopefully, state of flow sounds really good, and you're going to keep it for the next rounds. One more question. Well, how does it feel to compete here in your region, in the town of Sort, and, you know, the audience is yours?
I mean, this place is very important for me. This is where I learned to freestyle. This is the river that taught me the basics. So, of course, this river is not going to fail me.
Are you saying that your first swim was at that river?
My first swim? No, not in this river. Most people will know that I'm back from Salt, so for sure I took my first swims there. But here, maybe I did my first spins, so...
All right, last questions for the next rounds. Are you gonna change something or keep the same routine?
I would sign a contract saying that I would do the same ride in the final.
All right, well, I hope it will work for you, my friend. Best of luck and great job today.
And that's going to conclude our quarterfinals here at the 2019 ICF Canoe Freestyle World Championships. But don't go anywhere too far. At 6 o'clock, in about half an hour, we're going to be back with the junior finals, starting with the junior women, followed by the junior men. And that will be happening again at 6 o'clock. So be sure to check back in.